And then give me 1 second. Let me just go live on IG. All right, let me go live. There we go. We're live on IG. All right, what's up, everybody? All right, welcome to another session of the Golf God Podcast, Wednesday Hot Topics, live out of San Francisco on this beautiful Wednesday night. As you guys can see, we have a full panel of ladies and fellas here tonight, and we have another hot topic to discuss. As always, you guys always tune in to my live shows. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, you guys already know what to do. The best way to support the channel is to smash that like and subscribe button real quick. Don't forget, this is a virtual podcast. It is a public stream. So a lot of you guys always reach out to me. How do I join the podcast? Because you guys do know I do a live podcast on Saturdays in studio. But then you guys want to join because you're not from Cali, you're not from the Bay Area. There is a way to join. Is on my Wednesday shows. So you have to come to YouTube. The link is in the description below on YouTube. So if you're watching this from X, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitch, come over to YouTube, and the link is in the description on this video. And you'll be able to click on that link and join in as a virtual guest and join in the conversation. So you guys already know, if you've watched my content, I'm always open to hear different perspectives to this conversation. Whether we agree or disagree. So I do appreciate you guys are always tuning in. So click on that link if you want to jump on and be part of the panel. We do have some room. But nevertheless, thank you so much. Let's get that live chat popping. Let me know what you guys think. If you recognize some of these guests, show some love in the live chat. Say hello. And let me know your feedback. Always appreciate you guys on the live chat, always sharing what you guys think. I like to hear what you guys have to say. And of course, for all the ninja watchers out there, I know there's a lot of ninja watchers just watching, creeping on my channel, saying absolutely nothing, but always watching. I see the statistics, the analytics. But time to come out. Let's have some fun tonight. We have a great conversation. We have a great panel. So thank you so much as always. Don't forget, if you do want to share your voice and opinion, drop it through a super chat. I'll be able to put it on the screen and read out any questions or topics that you guys want us to respond as a panel, or if you have a specific question to the guest, you want them to respond to you as well, drop it through a super chat, and I'll be able to put it on the screen and respond to you guys. And of course, if you just want to donate to the channel, show some love and support for the content I produce for you guys weekly. I try to give you guys the best quality content as possible. So thank you so much for all the financial donations you guys always donate to the channel. Every donation goes back to the podcast, so I can make sure I give you guys the best quality content. But nevertheless, that's pretty much all my YouTube stuff. And just a quick shout out to my sponsor, Global Financial Impact. They're a financial services company. If you need any help in your financials, especially when it comes to tax advantage wealth strategies, if you need help with college fund for your kids, to set up a fund for your kids, debt management, family bank, life insurance, and living benefits. If you want to have legacy planning, to have a plan to have financial independence for your future and in your name. And of course, if you want to learn about business ownership and how to become an entrepreneur, definitely reach out to Savannah and her team. They have different services for you guys that fits your needs. So shout out to Savannah and her team, Financial Global Impact, for always sponsoring the show. But all her information is in the link in the description on YouTube. And come over to YouTube if you want to get in contact with Savannah and her team. So shout out to you, Savannah. Thank you so much. And I see the sophisticated Jerk. Hey, Jerk, good to see you in the live chat. Appreciate you guys. I see Prudy Wilson. Hey, what's up, Prudy? Good to see you, Prudy, on the live chat as well. I see you guys started to come in. If you're a moderator on the live chat, let's get everybody active. Let's get everybody going on the live chat, and let's have a great show for tonight. All right. But nevertheless, let me give a quick shout out one more time to the panel. One more time. All right. Thank you so much for making the time. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say on this discussion for the main topic we're going to discuss for today. But I'll pass it back to you guys if you guys don't mind. If you guys don't want to give yourselves a quick intro for everyone out there, and then we'll go right into the topic and we'll go right into it. All right. So I'll start with you, Sequoia. What's your name? What do you do? And what's your relationship status? Go ahead, Sequoia.
Yeah, so I'm Sequoia. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. Hey. Ohio. I am 28 years old, and I am a surgical veterinarian assistant. And right now I am single. It's kind of complicated. We'll get into it later, but as of now, single.
All right. Thank you so much, Sequoia. Appreciate you for jumping on for tonight. We'll keep it moving. I'll pass it to you, Joanna. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro.
Hi, my name is Joanna. I'm from Montana, and I am single. I'm a divorce negotiator and most known for my program Money Before Men.
All right. Thank you so much, Joanna. Good to have you on the
Montana.
All right, from Montana. Okay, thank you so much. We'll keep it moving. I'll pass it to you, Ashley. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there.
I'm Ashley. I am from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm 32. I'm a live streamer on TikTok, and I also am single recently.
All right. Thank you so much, Ashley. Good to see you. Good to have you on the pod. Excited to have you and be part of the discussion. We'll keep it moving. I'll pass it to you, Mara. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there.
Hey, everybody. I'm Mara. I'm 28 years old. I'm actually from the DMV area, but I'm in New York right now. I'm single. I'm not married. So mostly known for my content on TikTok, known as the Click 411. Most of my content is centered around no girlfriends, just rings. So hopefully that gives a little context as to what I'm about. All right.
All right. I definitely agree, Mara. Definitely agree. Thank you so much for jumping on here tonight. Excited to have you and be part of the discussion. I'll pass it to you, Saba. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there.
Hi, everybody. My name is Saba. I'm originally born in India, but raised in Atlanta. Currently living in DMV. I am 32. I am also newly single. I make content on TikTok. It's honestly just random content that seems to get some attention. So I am starting to go live and stuff on TikTok as well. My content is mainly catered to breaking like toxic cultures and things like that. So I tend to kind of go against the grain. So that gives you a little bit of insight on what my content is about. So.
All right. Thank you so much, Saba. Good to have you again on the live chat. Thank you so much. Shout out to the ladies. Appreciate you guys. And I see you expect the unexpected on the live chat. Hey, what's up? Expect the unexpected. I've never seen you here before on the chat. So thank you so much for tuning in. We have a great show for you. All right. So thank you, ladies, for the great intros. We'll pass it to the fellas. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro. I'll start with you, Conrad. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there.
Good night, everybody. My name is Conrad. I hail from Toronto, Canada. I am 39 years old. Been with my lady for 12 years. We just celebrated 6 years. I am a father of 3. And for me, I talk about men being men, masculine men, men of standards, men of truth, men that are noble. We encourage young men how not to waste their time in the streets, capture their 20s, and live in their 30s.
All right. Thank you so much, Conrad. Always good to have you on the pod. And Conrad, did you say the streets?
Yeah, they got to get out the streets, man. The streets don't have no pension plan for nobody. Come on now.
Okay, no worries. All right. Thank you so much, Conrad. Always good to have you on. And I can already feel the masculine energy oozing out of you already on the screen. All right. Thank you so much, Conrad. All right. So I'll pass it to you, Damien. Go ahead and give yourself a quick intro for everyone out there.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Damien. I'm sure everybody recognized me from this show. I own it quite a bit. 49 years old, so I'm a thorough ass OG on the panel. I've been married for 16 years, my wife 18 years, but I was a reformed player, sass, womanizer who that's why this topic is really like on point with me, because I had to make some significant changes in order to find the love of my life, and I did, and I've been happy for the last 16 years. And I have a podcast too called Can I Get Some Podcast, where we talk about everything from relationships to politics to pop culture or what have you. But it tends to always be about relationships, because people want to know, how did you make the change from that into a long-term marriage? And I usually give advice on that kind of stuff.
All right. Thank you so much, Damien. As always, thank you for always jumping on and being part of the show. So thank you so much as always. And I see the Jerk just dropped the super chat real quick. Shout out to you, Jerk. All right, thank you so much. I just created my new ID. More girlfriend, LOL. Okay.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
No worries, Dirk. Always appreciate you on the live chat. So I see Lovely World on the live chat. Good to see you, Lovely World, on there. Shout out to you guys. But let's get that live chat popping. I know a lot of you guys are moderators. Let's get everybody active. Say hello in the live chat, and of course, let me know your feedback. What do you guys think about the topic? We're talking about compromise and sacrificing for our ideal partner and a relationship. And don't forget, if you're tuning in for the first time, this is a public stream. So if you do want to jump on and be part of the panel, we do have some room on the panel. The link is in the description on YouTube. Click on that link and you'll be able to jump on virtually on your phone and be part of the conversation. You guys already know I always like to hear from different perspectives. But that's it. That's pretty much. Thank you so much for the great introductions. Let's go right into it. The topic we're going to be focusing on tonight is, are men and women willing to compromise and sacrifice for their ideal partner and relationship? So I saw this clip online on TikTok. I'm going to play it real quick. It's about 60 seconds. A lot of people were reacting to this clip, and there was a lot of conversation between men and women, a lot of disagreement on the comment section. So just to give everybody some context. So let me just play the clip real quick. We'll get to react to it. And of course, if you're watching this right now and you're reacting to the clip, let me know what you guys think also as you're reacting to the clip. And I'll bring it back full circle to the panel. And if you guys have an opportunity to go individually one by one and share what you guys think about the topic for tonight. So let me play the clip real quick. It's about 60 seconds. So just bear with us. And there it is. I'll play it right now.
I made more money than I've ever made in my life. I brought home $17,000, and the way it was received wasn't the way that I would have liked it to have been received.
I wasn't prepared for how much this unconscious idea of the role I should play as a woman and the role he should play as a man would affect our relationship. I was not prepared for that.
Ramit, let me say something to you. There's some fear. There's some fear with being direct with my wife. I want to be heard. I want to be heard. I want to say this one thing that I've been trying to say and have her hear me. I'll make it very plain. I need love from you, respect. I need food, and I just need clean clothes. That's it.
You need me to be.
Okay, so all right, so
he was trying to be politically correct. He wanted to throw in sex in there somewhere.
So that was a clip. I shortened it to 60 seconds for the sake of the podcast, but just to give everybody some context from that video. So he was making about $17,000 a month. His wife also makes a similar amount of money. She also has a career. What the conversation from that clip, what they were having is, they had a family, but the wife wasn't willing to give up her career. And that caused a lot of issues with her because she still wanted to pursue her career, but she had the main responsibility of raising the children, and that affected the relationship and also how she respected him, especially what he does in the relationship. So the conversation on the comments were saying, well, somebody has to compromise and sacrifice, especially if somebody has to be the breadwinner and if somebody has to raise the children. And primarily what the conversation was going was, if she doesn't give up career, that's going to cause a lot of issues because in that relationship, in that conversation. So they were going, a lot of the men on that comment section was going hard on her because she was unwilling to give up career to focus on the children. So that way it doesn't cause issues because she was frustrated that she had to give up career. It was hard for her to build a relationship and do the things that he wanted to do to build a relationship with him, like the food, the intimacy, the sex, and all these things. So that started the whole conversation, and that's what brought up the topic for today. Are men and women, are we willing to compromise and sacrifice for our ideal partner and relationship? So I want to pass it to you guys on the panel. I would like to let me know what your stance is, and then we're just talking in general. In general, what do you see? We all live here in Western society in America. So in general, based on what you see in today's dating market, do a majority of men and women, men and women are willing to compromise and sacrifice in order to be with their ideal partner and the relationship that they want. All right, so I'll start with you, Sequoia. What's your stance on the question, on the topic? Yes or no, and why?
I'm gonna say no. The majority, I feel like, do not. I think it comes with a lot of there's just a lack of communication where I feel like two people don't want to make that. They don't want to have that talk because it's a serious one, and people like to dodge things like that. Just from past experience, I feel like when people do want to communicate those things and, hey, like, I want to do this, I want to do that, or I'm asking you to change or whatever, it turns into something, everything gets misconstrued and people want to dodge it. So, but to just start it with that question, no, people don't want to communicate and they don't want to compromise.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sequoia. I'll pass it to you, Joanna. What do you think? Do you think in majority of women, men and women today, are they willing to compromise and sacrifice for their ideal partner and relationship?
I think people do compromise and sacrifice for their partners all the time. I mean, I'm a divorce negotiator or a prenup negotiator as well. So I see both sides of the coin, right? Like I see people that are coming out the other side who sacrifice the shit out of their relationship and their lives and the things that they wanted and settled and caved in ways that they didn't want to. And they wake up one day and they don't even recognize themselves. So I do think that that is something that we tend to do. I think, as I can speak for myself as a woman, being taught to sacrifice everything and to just take what's handed to me, and like my role is to be the mom that does the, the stay-at-home stuff, and I did that, put myself in a very financially dangerous position, made it very difficult for me to make choices for myself. So even like that clip was so triggering for me, because I was like, well, yeah, it's convenient to ask your wife to give up her breadwinning. But at the same time, like, would you give up your breadwinning to stay at home? And why not? Because if you want to make the money, why do you want to make the money? How is that benefiting you? And then how is that putting risk on your wife's plate to ask her to quit her breadwinning and put her in a suppressed income earning potential over a long period of time? So I think that's probably where that relationship is breaking down. As far as compromise, I think we're always compromising, right? Like whether you want to go to one restaurant or the other, or you want to have one type of lifestyle over the other, like someone's always having to compromise in a way. But I do think that relationships end because the sacrifice is too much. And that I do think that that's a real thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Joanna. We'll keep it moving. I'll pass it to you, Mara. Mara, go ahead. What do you think? Yes or no? Are men and women willing to compromise and sacrifice for their ideal partner and relationship?
I think if it's their ideal partner, like if it's a man and it's his dream woman, I do think he's going to be extremely compromising. I think he's going to be extremely willing and bendable. And when usually women tend to be this way anyway. If she's not, it's probably because she doesn't feel safe in that relationship. So while watching that clip, she's resisting probably because she doesn't feel like her husband has some kind of safety net in place for her in the event that she were to stop working. That, like, how is she going to get compensated? Like, is there a retirement fund for her, etc.? So I also agree with you, Sequoia, and I agree with you, Joanna, as well. I mean, I think it's about preparation, and I think it's about having conversations ahead of time. I kind of look at this stuff like it's kind of stupid, because it's like, what happened to vetting? If you're dating for marriage, you're asking hard questions up front, and if you're not aligned, then you're not seeing each other. It's that simple. So all these conversations, I feel like this compromise talk, it happens too late, which is the problem, versus upfront, similar values, etc.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mara. We'll keep it moving. I'll pass it to you, Ashley. Ashley, what do you think? Yes or no? Are men and women willing to compromise and sacrifice for their ideal partner and relationship?
I'm like on the fence about it. I'd say no, mostly no. And then I was actually gonna piggyback off of what Mara was saying about like aligning your values and stuff. I'm sorry, but especially with the situation I just recently went through, that's not always true. People are not who they say they are in the beginning, 9 times out of 10. So, and that can even be with marriage. I've been through that too. So it's like, somebody can say that they're going to compromise and they can come off like, yes, I'm willing to compromise. But then 8 months down the road, there's certain things that they're not willing to compromise about. And it becomes this big thing, like basically what that clip is right there. Like, but I do agree with what you said, Mara. She probably doesn't feel security in the relationship, because if she did, she would probably be willing to compromise. Because it seems like she's scared that if she decides to stop working or whatever the case may be, maybe he's going to withhold funds from her, or she's not going to be able to do the things that she can already do for herself, which, I mean, financial abuse is definitely a thing. So that's why I said I'm kind of like on the fence about that. So, yeah.
All right. No worries, Ashley. Thank you so much. I see Kasim in the building. Hey, what's up, Kasim? Good to see you in the live chat. RNTY1, good to see you in the live chat. Vin, FTW, and Milagros. I appreciate you guys on the live chat. Get that live chat active. Let me know what you guys think. Share your feedback. And of course, don't forget, if you want to jump on as a virtual guest, the link is in the description. We'll keep it moving. I'll pass it to you, Saba. Go ahead. What do you think, Saba? Yes or no? Are men and women willing to compromise and sacrifice for their ideal partner and relationship?
I feel like I'm also on the fence with this one. Like, a part of me wants to be like, yes, but then a part of me wants to be like, no. I feel like women are naturally submissive if given, just like Mara said, the opportunity to be. In my last situation, I wasn't submissive at all, because just like how Ashley said in the beginning, I was fed somebody completely different than who I ended up with. And I basically was running the whole household. So therefore, I felt like I couldn't be submissive. I didn't have the chance to be submissive. However, that was a big issue in the actual relationship, because he wanted me to be. I feel like where I'm at with a yes on it, though, for your ideal partner, yes. Will you compromise? Absolutely. This is your ideal partner. And I feel like it'll take, because they're the ideal person, you're going to do what it takes to make it work. You're going to make the effort. But to me personally, my ideal partner would be somebody that, like, going in, everything I'm with. Like, we have these conversations and we're on the same page. So it's not a lot of compromising or sacrificing that needs to be done. But if it is, then it's very little, and we can make that happen.
All right. Thank you so much, Saba. Appreciate that. Before I pass it to the fellas, I just want to ask the question to the ladies. So what you guys are saying, that guy in that clip, that's not her ideal partner that she really wanted to be with? Damn. Okay. All right. Just wanted to ask. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for sharing that, ladies. I'll pass it back to the fellas. What do you guys think? I'll start with you, Conrad. Are men and women willing to compromise? Yes or no? Go ahead.
In this day and time, I don't see that. Before we get to the aspect where I do agree with Mara that a lot of people are just not having the hard conversations up front. But I would also take it a step further, that the foundation of sacrifice and compromise has not been taught to a lot of individuals, both male and female. So they didn't get to see that at home. So it's hard to understand the concept of sacrificing, and how do you sacrifice for somebody without asking or without throwing it in their face. I think that's one thing where, on one hand, where it may be scary to the modern woman in this day and age to sacrifice what she's trying to build or what she may see for herself, even though she's entering into a relationship or is in a relationship. On the other hand, there's the aspect of compromise from women to men. I do also see that as a tug of war, where that understanding of acceptance and maybe the clarity of his plan, maybe that's not divulged in the greatest terms, or maybe he's a person that he's not articulate to present himself in a certain fashion. But there is a tug of war going where neither party is actually prepared mentally, emotionally, or financially to properly sacrifice for one another.
All right. Thank you so much, Conrad. I'll pass it to you, Damien. Damien, yes or no? Are men and women willing to sacrifice and compromise? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no, because society has been telling people you could have it all. Men and women, you can have it all. Don't settle, don't compromise, stand in your truth, and so you'll find somebody accept you. There's somebody for everybody. You don't have to do any work. Love yourself. There's no change or a self-assessment that needs to happen. And then compromise comes in place when it turns to shit. Your relationship is going to shit. You guys are fighting every day, and you're thinking, okay, what compromise I have to make if I want to salvage this relationship? But unfortunately, a lot of times there's too much resentment that's come up to where even if you start to compromise and sacrifice, people can't get by the shit that happened prior to that, and it still doesn't go anywhere. I think compromise needs to happen early on. It needs to happen, and there's a myriad of conversations you need to happen where you need to discuss what level of compromise you're comfortable with and what level of compromise the other person is expecting, in order for it to be healthy compromise instead of surrender based compromise. Or so I think the short answer, to go along with my long answer, is no. Society is just people think they don't have to do anything but wait. They don't, and things will just fall in their lap, and it'll be, sunshine and roses.
All right. Thank you so much, Damien. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Shout out to the panel. I'm going to just add on a public guest real quick. Hey, what's up, Fatty?
What's up, Fatty?
All right.
What's going on, brother?
Hi, friends.
All right.
Look at you, Conrad. Look
at you, brother. Look at
How you guys doing?
No worries, Fatty. Good. Thanks for jumping on as a public guest. As always, if you're watching this right now, tuning into the stream, you can jump on as a public guest. The link is on the description on YouTube. Click on that link and you'll be able to jump on. I always like to hear from different perspectives. But I'll give you some time, Fatty, before we open up for open discussion to respond to each other. What's your response to the topic for tonight? Yes or no? Are men and women willing to compromise and sacrifice for their ideal partner and relationship?
Men, yes. Woman, temporarily, while they have their butterflies in their belly. When the butterflies is gone, they try to wrestle the person for power, even if he's Christian Grey.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Fatty. All right. But yeah, we've all had a chance to have our opening statements and perspectives on the question and the topic. I want to pass it back to the panel. Does anybody here want to add on to what somebody said in agreement, or do you want to? Maybe you disagreed with what somebody said on here. Who wants to go first?
I wanted to say two things, if they allow me.
Go ahead, Fatty.
Why are you marrying men that you can trust? That's the first one. Why are you literally putting yourself in a position where you can be submissive because you don't trust the person in front of you? I don't let nobody that I don't think is a good driver drive a car and I'm on the passenger seat. I said, slow down, stop, don't do that. Hey man, let me drive. I will not allow a belligerent person to drive a car where I'm on. And I think women shouldn't do that too. And the second part is, which person is more vulnerable? The guy that is working for 10 years and pay bills for 10 years and the stay-at-home mom, and if they get divorced, she gets all the money, she gets the kids, she gets the house, and she gets child support, or the guy or the woman that is going to end up with cashes and prizes, and she literally can find a new man on the next 3 months and get him to do exactly the same job that the guy was doing, or the man that is going to lose everything. And think about it just for a second, right? Would you, in case of divorce, be the man. Go in front of the judge and say, hey, Mr. Judge, we divorced today. I want everything that woman has, which is nothing. I want my kids, even though I didn't raise them. I want the money, even though she didn't earn it. The man is on a vulnerable position. He's not the woman. Because if we go to the judge and a woman says, I want my kids, the judge is going to say, yes, miss, because you took care of them for 10 years. I want the house. Yes, miss, because your kids need a place to stay. I want child support. Yes, miss, because you did a great job taking care of the kids and those kids need to eat. So who is more vulnerable if things go wrong and you guys divorce in front of the judge? Is the man that is taking care of everything and is going to lose more than half of his shit and lose access to his kids? Or is the woman that keeps the kids, keeps the house, gets the money, and can call Damien? Hi, Damien, I'm single now. Do you want to try something? And now he pays off of the bills on my house with my kids there and a little bit of bonuses that she's going to get every month. Who is more vulnerable? Please explain why do you get to that position of the woman is the vulnerable one when she gets rewarded if things go south?
Anybody want to respond to Fatty?
First of all,
Well,
thank you
Joanna,
for
go
sharing
ahead.
your perspective. As a divorce
Right.
negotiator, that's definitely not true. Statistically speaking, most women that go through a divorce are in poverty or in poor financial situation compared to the male counterpart. They're in a severe risk because income earning potential is compounded over time. So as they've suppressed their income to stay at home with the kids, they're now starting in the market where you've had 10, 15 years in the marketplace to go build off of your income. They aren't getting the houses. They aren't getting the kids full time. Oftentimes women are losing their children 50% of the time. They're not getting child support. The amount of people that have to pay it but actually don't is off the charts as well. So the vulnerability for a woman and the risk for a woman to enter into marriage without a prenup or without any type of guaranteed support post-divorce is actually quite high. I don't think women get into relationships, and I don't think men do either, thinking that they're going to get divorced, thinking that they're not vulnerable. I think everybody knows when you enter into a relationship, like the cost of admission to love is heartbreak, right? Like you're taking that risk when you go into it, but I don't think women are just getting into it and being like, let me pick a belligerent person. That's not how that goes down. I don't think men are getting into it thinking I'm not going to be with a safe partner. I think we have to leave room for nuance and for life changes to occur where people's deal breakers change. I think people experience a lot of life. I think Damien touched on this with resentment creeping up, building up over the lifetime of a marriage or a relationship, and it becomes insurmountable at times. But I definitely don't think that, yes, men are vulnerable in the financial arena, but we are in the patriarchy and we are in a system that it's created by men for men and it benefits men a lot. And so we do have to look at the fact that women are at high risk when they stay at home.
All right.
If I could interject on that point about, I just want to tackle the aspect of the patriarchy, because the aspect of the patriarchy doesn't affect the mass majority of the average man. The average man does not have any access to the affluence or the influence of the patriarchy. So I kind of find that as a moot point. I want to go back to kind of what Fatty said in terms of the aspect of choosing, which furthers something that Mara said about vetting and the hard conversations. I find that there's instances in this generation, as I look at it, and are guiding in some fashion young men to make proper choices when it comes to a potential, partner. Why is there? It seems like there's the aspect of the probable or possible danger, but the aspect of accountability by vetting and by choice seems to be vocational. Why is that? Why are we focusing on the danger of what could happen rather than mitigating risk by taking accountability? As Fatty said, controlling that driver's seat. I don't think it is wise for any man or any woman to leave the driver's seat to somebody that you genuinely just don't know. If if by Ashley's standpoint, she said that 9 times out of 10, you don't know the person who's really presenting themselves on day one, well then cool, maybe I need to stretch day one out. Why are we avoiding accountability to get some type of instant gratification? Where's the accountability in that?
All right, thank you so much, Conrad. Does anybody want to add on?
I wanted
Yeah.
to say,
Mara, real quick. Go ahead, Mara.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I partially agree with Fatty, and I love these comments so far. I think something I want to bring up though is it's the accountability. Yes, I think that's a point. I don't feel like a lot of men and women are actually taking accountability for their decisions in life, right? And they end up getting very bitter and upset. So when I hear a lot of this like rage bait, that's what I would call it, with like, oh my God, who's gonna get the kids? I'm not gonna get the kids. Like, she can take all my money, all this. I feel like it's coming from a very wounded place of I don't like women, and a lot of women don't like men. And that's just like, this is also the fundamental problem. So you have the two sexes that are like honestly at war with wanting to come together because it's just these bitter experiences, probably bad family experiences, friends, personal relationships, and it's almost like this overall distrust, which is warranted. However, this is also why I believe, Joanne, I think what you were saying, with people don't go into a marriage thinking they're going to get divorced, right? I think my perspective is I don't base my decisions on a feeling. I base my decisions. Love is an action. I don't believe love is a feeling and butterflies. I believe this is a conscious decision. So I think of it, I don't want to say marriage is a contract, but marriage is a contract. So we have to be in agreement before we go forward. We have to be in agreement in our courtship before we move to anything else. Before you open your legs for any man, you need to know what you're about. Like, you know, so I kind of feel like I'm wondering, where is the wisdom and discernment during the courtship phase? Because it seems like men blame women and women blame men and no one is doing anything about it. And then they're just blaming the judge because the judge, you're putting all the power in the judge's hands pretty much over your kids and your house and your assets. It's ridiculous, you know? So I just want to know where the accountability really has gone, because everyone's just online ranting, not in this chat, but, you know, overall about woe is me and my poor decision making.
so that's why we talk about marriage. Marriage gives security to women and takes security out of men. I will benefit everything for being boyfriend and girlfriend with you, have kids with you, and not marry you. That's why, like when Joanna said that, I think he was disingenuous. You know, it's not on a negative way, right? But if there's a place where we know there's a bias, there is the family court. The family court is clearly geared towards woman protection and kid protection. And nobody goes to the judge and says, hey, judge, I want half of the love that I gave to this man for 10 years. No woman in the history of mankind said, I want the love that I put on this relationship back. They want money, they want resources, and they want things, so they make sure they do the transition for the either single life or to be with another person. And if, Joanna, you actually believe that being a stay-at-home mom is vulnerable more than carrying the load for 10 years, would you allow me to stay at home and taking care of my kid as a stay-at-home dad while you work for 20 years outside of the house and pay all the bills and do all the things while I do chores at the home and all that? Would you see that as a positive thing? Would you be willing, if you find a man that actually is a good dad and can take care of the kid, if as a vulnerable position means that you actually see there's a better position to go to work, would you be willing to do that?
Are you asking me, Fatty, or general?
Joanna.
Okay.
I wouldn't be willing to be with a man that doesn't work.
So
I would never. So for me personally, I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years before I got divorced. I started over working at Starbucks, making $9 an hour, sleeping in my sister's basement, taking free Starbucks sandwiches home to my kids. After that, I became a breadwinner for myself over the last several years and became a multi-six-figure earner. I would never marry or be with a man that doesn't work, and I would never not earn money, my own money, ever again. because I just don't believe it's safe for women to do that. There's just, I mean, I have women at like 69 who call me and say, Joanna, my husband's leaving me to be with some woman in Thailand, building a floating house on the ocean. And I'm 69 and I'm starting over and I haven't worked, you know? So like, from my perspective, I'm like, well, shit, I'll just work. Like, it's just safer that way.
But that's the point, Joanna. Now you are a high earner. You make more than $100,000. Wouldn't actually that be nice to have a stay-at-home dad that takes care of things, cleans things for you? Wait, but wasn't that the vulnerable? Wasn't that the vulnerable position? Now you don't want it. No, now you are the breadwinner. No, Joanna.
And
one
he was
second.
at home drinking all the time, and he wasn't working as much as he could have. So no,
That's totally fine, Joanna. But let's have an honest and open conversation, right? You can't say it's a vulnerable position where you are very, and now that you are the man, like it's not the man, right? You're still a woman. You have no, I'm not. There's not that. You have a beautiful face. You seem very healthy. I'm happy for you that you get $100,000. But now that you are able to be in a position of a man, why not put the man on a vulnerable position since he's so bad and he takes care of everything in the home, he cleans, he does everything while you go outside in the world and bring the bacon home? Why are you uncomfortable with that?
Because
I don't
that's just my preference.
I think she's saying that's her preference.
Because she's a woman, Fatty.
Yes, because she wants the best of two worlds.
Yeah. All right. So let me just shout out to Underground Rose real quick. Super chat $4.99. Thank you so much, Irene. Hey, good to see you, Irene. I haven't seen you in a while, but it's good to see you in the live chat. I do appreciate you guys, but you guys are going super hard right now on the live chat. I see. Hey, what's up, Ali? Good to see you, Ali. If you want to hop on, the link is in the description. Gas Mask, good to see you. B-Love, I haven't seen you in a while. Shout out to you, B-Love. And Tony Golded, haven't seen you here before. Thank you so much. So I see a lot of new faces tuning in for the show tonight. Thank you so much. And of course, Fatty's here. So if you're a supporter of Fatty and the Untouchables, thank you so much for being on the live chat. Shout out to you guys as well. I do want to pass it back to the other panelists to give you guys some time, some opportunity to respond, to add on to the conversation. Sequoia, anything you want to add on to what has been said so far?
I'm letting it all cook right now because I don't know right now. I'm just trying to soak it all in so I can have an opinion right now.
Can I throw the ladies a question, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
To you ladies, and let's erase past bad relationships. Let's erase it all. Let's start again. What does a man that is going to sacrifice and compromise for you, what does that man look like? What does he act like? And what does he sound like? And yeah. So for the ladies, what is that man who's going to compromise and sacrifice for you? Erase all the bad traumas. Trauma, no baggage. You've never been hurt. What does that man look like for you?
Okay, great question, Conrad. I'll pass it to the ladies. I'll start with you, Saba. Go ahead.
I
respond.
would say that man looks like a partner, a protector. Anything that happens in a negative manner to your partner, you protect. That should be your first instinct. No matter what it is that you have to do. I think that man, when it comes down to sacrifice or compromising or whatever, a man who would do that for me would be a protector for me. Somebody that I would have that comfort with, somebody that I would be able to, like, going in, we've already, like, it's like how you guys said, we've had the difficult conversations, we vetted them, we know that this is what we want: kids, no kids, travel, when we want to do this, like, all of those things are already in place. And I think that would be what builds a successful relationship.
All right, thank you so much, Saba. But real quick to the panel, I do hear some background noise. I don't know who is it coming from. So it sounds like something's moving. But if you don't mind, just put yourself on mute, and then unmute yourself when you speak. I just don't know who it is. It just sounds like something is moving. Thank you, Saba. I'll pass it to you, Ashley. What's your response to Conrad's question? Go ahead.
I'm basically just going to agree with what she said. I'm going to be honest, and this might sound fucked up, but I've been so traumatized that I can't even think about what that would look like. And I'm just being honest. So,
All right.
next lady.
All right. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Thank you so much, Ashley. I'll pass it to you, Sequoia. What is that? What's your response to Conrad's question? What does that man look like?
A leader, someone who's willing to take charge, and also like back to the compromising too. I feel like an accountability, and just I feel like like we all got traumas, we all have things that we've dealt with in the past, and I also feel like people will use that as an excuse to not do what they're supposed to be doing in a relationship. Someone I know who had a lot of trauma and baggage use that as an excuse to not do what he should be doing in a relationship. And so for me, number one would be a leader, and then like you were saying, Saba, a protector, someone who you're going to feel secure with in a relationship, because a lot of the times you don't see that anymore.
All right. Thank you so much, Sequoia. I'll pass it to you, Joanna. What's your response to Conrad's question? Go ahead, Joanna.
I mean, that's a tough question to ask. I think that somebody that's willing to me, sacrifice is more on time and prioritization of your presence. And I think that that's something that, presence is hard to come by these days. And I don't think that there are many roles that I would ask someone to play in my life other than being a very strong presence for me that can be present, and somebody who could honestly be able to attune and notice when I need support instead of having me have to ask for everything all the time. So the sacrifice of paying attention is probably my biggest desire in a partner.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Joanna. I'll pass it to you, Mara. What's your response? Go ahead.
So I love this question, Conrad. It's a really good question. So thanks for asking. I think for me personally, a man who's integrous is super important. A man who's integrous, a man who's a leader, a man who's a protector and provider. And I don't just mean that financially, because that's super important, but I do mean that like emotionally, and I do mean also with dreams. So if I have someone around me that's supportive of my vision, what my purpose is, like we're aligned in that way, that's someone I could, in essence, submit to, right? I know it's a very like trigger word, but if that person shows me like, hey, go for this, go for that, I have your back, as equally as a lot of women have their man's back, that to me would be like golden. And having a man with a gentle spirit, and when I mean gentle, I don't mean a pushover. I mean a man who knows how to move in like social settings, but in private as well, pretty much emotional competency. That is a really big thing. I don't think a lot of men walk around with those skills as you'd hope, unfortunately.
All right. Thank you so much, Mara. I'll pass it to you, Damien. Damien, what's your thoughts from the male perspective based on what you heard, what the ladies responded to Conrad's question?
Yeah, I mean, those are the standard questions, the answers that people are saying about things that they want. That hasn't changed in 50 years, probably won't change another 50 years, are the kind of things, the base things that people want. I know, like, if we're just going to flip it and just say, what are some of the things that I feel like I had to sacrifice early on in a relationship, what have you, were things that I liked. It was a bunch of shit I liked. I liked, going out and hanging out with my friends. I liked partying late. I liked, hooking up with a bunch of different women. I liked that kind of stuff. But I didn't love that shit. That's the thing. So what I have now, everything I got now is everything I love. I love my kids. I love spending time with my wife. I love like seeing, I like what I've built, the life I've built. I love providing and doing things with them. It was like, that's the things I thought I had to sacrifice. I really did think that, okay, this is all the things I'm going to sacrifice. And then it wasn't a sacrifice at all. It was just like, I don't, money, you can make more money. I don't want to kick it with any other woman other than you. going out with my friends and stuff like that. They're still my friends. It's just, I don't stay out till 6 a.m, that kind of shit. It's those things that you worry so intently about sacrificing, the things that you're going to give up, you find are menial for the things that you gain. I was one of those cats who I was living a pretty fast life. And then I really wanted something different. I was getting to my 30s, and I was like, I really want to get married and have children and, create a legacy that's going to last. It's going to kind of like mirror what I saw growing up. And I knew I had to step back and get rid of the bullshit. There's this scene in that movie, A History of Violence, where Joey Cusack Tom Stahl said he had to go into the desert and kill Joey Cusack so Tom Stahl could have a life. That's how it was. I had to kill the person I was in order to have the life that I have now. Not metaphorically, of course, but it's just one of those things where I still enjoy some of the things, but they just hold a very significantly lesser value to me now in conjunction to what I got, in comparison to what I have now as far as my life. My life now is the shit, and I realized my life then was leading me nowhere. So,
All right. Thank you so much, Damien. I do want to ask one question, and I will come to Mara real quick to get her response, because I know you have some time constraints. So a lot of you ladies responded to Conrad by describing the type of man that you would want, your ideal man, right? So I'm gonna just throw some qualities I wrote down some of the things you guys said. So ladies, are you guys all in agreement that you guys want a leader? Yes.
Yes.
A man who leads.
Yeah.
Right? And knows how to lead, right? Not the dictatorship type, manipulative type, the guy that knows how to lead by example. Okay. All right. You want masculine men, right? You don't want feminine men. You want masculine men, a man's man. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Personally for me, yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. You want to provide a protector, a man that loves his obligation and duty to take care of his woman and his family. This is something that he believes in and he wants to do. You don't have to force him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
And of course, you can add in he's attractive to you, good morals, good values, he's committed, he's a family man. Yes. Okay. So the reason why I asked that, because this is something that's a big conversation that's I do see online, especially the criticism towards women, and we're talking about sacrifice and compromise. So the biggest discussion that I do see online is, as a woman, if you want a leader, right? If that's the type of man that you want, usually that type of man is going to look for a woman that complements it. So a leader is not looking for another leader. A leader is looking for a follower. So if you as a woman, if that's the specific ideal man that you want, the sacrifice and compromise that you're going to have to make, and that's a decision that you have to make, is to adjust your life to his life and to his purpose and to his direction and his vision. And that's a compromise that you have to make, and you have to become the type of woman that he is looking for. So typically in general, I'm not saying all men, but typically in general, men who are good leaders, who are competent, provider protectors, masculine, good morals and values, they're typically looking for women to complement him, which is the more supportive wife, not the breadwinner, not the woman that wants to go out there and pursue her dreams and goals, the woman that wants to build a family, that wants to take care of his children. That's typically the woman that he is going to look if he attracts that woman, right? So I want to, a lot of you guys, I know Joanna, you brought it up. A lot of you don't want to give up your opportunity to go out there and work and to be a six-figure earner, which I don't have a problem with. But the conversation is, if that's your ideal man that you want, you have to compromise to what he wants, because you can always go for somebody else that's giving him what he wants. Both men and women are not going to go with somebody that's not giving them what they want. And typically the men who are masculine, provider, protectors, and leaders are going to go with the more feminine, supportive woman that's going to primarily be the one that's going to take care of his children. And the biggest conversation the biggest criticism towards women is that you want the masculine man, but you don't want to do the things that he's looking for. So you're unwilling to sacrifice and compromise to be with him, but that's the man that you want. So that's why a lot of women find themselves aligning with men with that clip of that video. Oftentimes, if you can't get that strong masculine leader, provider, protector, you're going to go with that guy that we saw in the clip in the video, the guy that you don't really want to be with, right? The guy that's more feminine, that's less masculine, that's not the provider, protector, the person that you don't feel safe financially, emotionally, spiritually, sexually. And you end up settling with him. And then at the end of the day, you're going to leave him anyway, because that's not the ideal person. So if that's your outcome, if that's the man that you really want, you have to make a sacrifice and compromise. And the biggest criticism towards women today, based on their responses, is you want that man, but you still want to do your own thing. You don't want to follow his leadership. You're unwilling to submit to him, and you're unwilling to give up your financial career or your earning potential because out of a bad expectation in the past, bad experience in the past, or you just don't want to give up that one thing. But that one thing is the one thing he's looking for you to compromise in if you want that. So what's your response to that? Because that's what I see online. The conversation is women, you want that man, but you're unwilling to sacrifice and compromise to do the very things to be with that man. And that's the problem. So I'll pass it back to the ladies. What's your response to that discussion? I would like to hear what you guys have to say, and then I'll pass it back to the fellas. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead, Saba.
I feel like when it comes down to finding that man who is that natural provider, protector, leader, I feel like the term follower is not right. But I feel like a man who is providing, protecting, and leading, and he is that leader, the woman is there to support him in leading. So I feel like that would be more of a woman's role. And when it comes down to it, I feel like once a woman feels like she can be a woman, she will be. Like, women are naturally submissive when they have that male role in their life, when they have that leader, protector, provider. They will be naturally more submissive. If you place me in a situation where I have to fend for myself, I'm not going to be as submissive to you. But if you place me in a role to where I know that you're going to have my back and protect me and be there right in front of me, I will be submissive to you.
Okay. Saba, thank you so much. I'm going to pass it to Mara real quick because I know you have to leave, Mara. So what's your response to that question? I would love to hear what you have to say. And then I know you gotta go. Go ahead, Mara.
Yeah, so okay, it's a really loaded question, but first things first, I do think when finding a compatible mate, looking at lifestyle and how he lives is so important. That's number one, because, for example, let's say he's an X tax bracket, right? He might have certain luxuries that maybe other men don't have. And I think that's why being able to stay at home, honestly, and be like a housewife, stay-at-home mom really can be a luxury. So what I mean by that is, for example, for me, a compromise would be, hey, honey, you have a business, let's say in Sweden, whatever, you're doing business in all these other places. Now you need to be able to move with me. Like, like we're moving, like you need to be able to be flexible. So maybe you can't work, or maybe you need to have a remote type of job, or you need to have your passions or whatever. And in that case, I would totally compromise, but it's because I already submit to that vision because I like that type of thing anyway. So I think it's really about just finding people who are about what you like going right back to the bare bones of, do you like this? So I know some women don't like that, but I like that. So I'm like, I don't care if we have to go over here and we have different houses or we have different properties, fine. But what I will say, as far as the whole, will you support me, this whole thing, I think it's all about, I don't mind supporting you as long as I can also have my hobbies. And if my hobbies happen to be profitable, amazing. But I want to have that option. And I think that's where some men they become tyrants without realizing, because they want their woman to not have any hobbies, any type of work outside of just the house when they want this traditional thing. And I think you can have it both. So, for example, let's say I really like knitting. I don't know, right? I want to do a little Etsy shop. Will my husband support me doing my Etsy shop? Or is he going to say, I need you to be focusing all the time on the kids? So I'm like, well, that's why we have our grant. That's why we have the in-laws. That's why we have other things. It cannot just be me, always me. So I think that would also align with our family vision, us together, because some men are like, I don't want nannies, I don't want our in-laws to help, I don't want a family to help raise our kids. That would not work for me. That's not the kind of housewife I would like to be. So I think asking those questions up front, like, if you want a housewife, what does that look like? Give me a rundown of what that looks like, and I can tell you my vision. Do we align, yes or no? And if he says no, cool. If he says I can compromise, cool. But the compromise has to be somewhat reasonable. You know, it can't just be like something ridiculous, like I want kids and you don't want kids. That's not a compromise. That's just crazy. You have to find people that align with you. I hope this makes sense.
No worries. Thank you so much, Amara. I know I had a lot of questions I want to respond to, but I know you got to go.
Mara,
Amara, what's your just quick final
give her
thoughts?
socials. Yeah.
Yeah, what's your final thoughts, and share your socials so people can support and find you before you have to leave. Go ahead, Mara.
Sure. So I'm on TikTok mostly. It's the Click 411. Click is CLIQUE. Okay, like the group, the Click 411. Same thing with Instagram. Yep. So you're joining in the group. And yeah, I'm on TikTok and just Instagram. So that's it. But I just loved everybody. Thank you so much for letting me contribute to this conversation. Thank you so much for inviting me. This has been very enlightening, and I think these conversations are so needed, despite us maybe having different viewpoints. But I think it's so good for men and women to come together and just problem solve. So thank you guys so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mara.
Have a great day.
All right. Shout out to you, Mara. Thank you so much. But we'll keep it moving. Thank you so much. Don't forget, this is a virtual show, so we have some room on the panel. I know there's a lot of ladies on the live chat right now, and I want to extend an invite for you guys. All right. So if there is a woman that literally sacrificed and compromised for their men, I would love to hear your perspective. Jump on the panel. And then the fellas, same thing. Jump on. Like to hear different perspectives. But I'll keep it moving. I'll pass it to the ladies. Thank you so much, Saba. Yeah, but what's your? I'll pass it to you, Sequoia. What's your response to the men are saying? Is a lot of women are saying a lot of women want that masculine leader, but they're unwilling to compliment and make the compromise and sacrifices you need to be with that man.
Sure.
What do you think, Sequoia? What's the response to that?
So to kind of follow what Mara was saying, I feel like it comes down to compatibility, because you can find someone who is a leader who, wants to be the breadwinner or whatever, and he would still support what you're doing. If that's your person, you would still be able to do what you want to do and still be the boss or whatever you want to do. So I think it just comes down to having that open, communication with somebody at the beginning, because there might be two people who might not agree with certain things, and then y'all probably don't need to be together. You know what I mean? Because then it's going to fall down to that path of just, you guys having different views on different things. You guys are going to have resentment towards each other. So you just to kind of avoid all of that, I would just have that discussion with somebody and be like, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what you want to do. Or, you know what I mean? So I think it comes down to that, because that can honestly stop a lot of damage later on,
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sequoia. I'll pass it to you, Joanna. What's your response to that question? Women want that specific type of man, but they're unwilling to sacrifice and compromise to meet the things that man is looking for. Go ahead, Joanna.
Well, I mean, I don't base my life around what a man is looking for from me. I would base it around the compatibility that I have with that partner. But I also don't equate masculinity with making money, because I think that has been pretty twisted, that if you're masculine, you're the moneymaker, when you can be very feminine and make a lot of money. And so I just think that is a dynamic and a conversation that deserves to be broken down a little bit more, so women don't feel like they're in their masculine just because they're making money. I think that there's room for both partners to shine. And I do think that there is compromise that will need to be had, especially with like lifestyle differences or location or things that you need to be, or if the workload is becoming too much, like I'd be willing to shift those things around to accommodate my partner, to make sure that I have time for my partner, to be a loving, supportive partner. but I don't think that being with a partner would require of me to change who I am at my core of who I want to be in my life. And I think that that person would be confident enough and masculine enough to hold space for both people to shine and just love it just as much when I'm successful and running in my lane.
Okay. All right. No worries. Thank you so much, Joanna. And Ashley, go ahead. What's the response to that, Ashley?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
No, see, yeah, the question I brought up, there was the topic of conversation where women say that they want the strong, masculine leader, good values, good morals, provider, protector. But the thing is, the things that those men are looking for are typically looking for a more feminine, supportive wife to complement his life. He's not looking for his equal as far as the ability to make money, to able to be a leader. So a lot of women are unwilling because there are a lot of women who make money, a lot of women who are more independent in themselves. A lot of them are unwilling to compromise and sacrifice to be more submissive, to be more supportive, maybe to take a back seat as far as your earning potential, to support his earning potential and what he's trying to do for his life, to be able to have the opportunity to be with him because that's what he's looking for. That's the woman that he wants to marry. But it's a lot of women to say they want that man, but they're unwilling to make the compromise and sacrifice.
I, as a woman that used to be completely independent, wouldn't let a man do anything for me, I finally did submit. So for me, I would say that it depends on the dynamic of, like, just like Joanna said, with the compatibility, like, you know, the conversations that are being had. I very much so, I think it all comes with growth and then, like she said, with the masculinity, with the money situation, I personally, yes, the money is great. However, I'll just be completely honest. The reason that my relationship didn't work, and this might bring up I might open a whole can of worms right here, but I don't really care, is because he's not healed. He has a lot of past trauma and projecting on me from old relationships and things like that. So money is not fucking everything. Like, yeah, I'm just going to stop right there because I don't want to keep going into it.
Okay.
Does he has a lot of money?
Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. What do you consider a lot of money? I don't want to
You know when rich people say money is not everything, right? Usually the person that says money is not everything usually is in a very comfortable financial position. So when you said that, it was kind of interesting, and it's kind of twofold, right? It's, if that person is not healed, why you are with that person, he must have something very good that supplants whatever trauma he has going on, which is a lot of times is the dough. And the second part is, I'm fascinated with your earrings. Is that like a fashion statement, or you are a Christian?
I am a Christian.
So what's the problem with submitting?
I didn't say I had a problem with submitting.
You just say that, yeah.
It really, and honestly, that's a whole nother issue too. Like, through the relationship, my faith has grown more. Mm-hmm. And so that could be a whole nother conversation. That's why I'm saying I could take this a completely different way.
Because you said independent, and then you said, but I submitted. I was like, those two words kind of. But yeah, I'll leave it alone for the sake of the conversation.
Yes, I did.
Oh, thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for add-on, Fatty. Let me pass it to the fellas. I want to get the male perspective. What's your response to that, Damien? And I'll start with you, Damien. You know, a lot of women, saying that that's the type of man that they want: masculine, leader, good morals, good values, provider, protector, has a plan, ambitious, has a vision. But these men also have certain things that they look for in a woman. But a lot of women are unwilling to make the compromises and sacrifice to be that type of woman, to be with that type of man. What's your response to that, Damien?
Yeah, I mean, I think what it is like, you can't get it off rip. You got to like earn your right the way into that shit. Like, for example, when I met my wife, she had, like I've said before, she has 2 degrees. She had she's a production manager at a fashion brand. So she had a career that was upwardly mobile. So in order to become my wife, when she said we want to have kids, her ideal situation was, you know, she stayed home with the kids and I pay most of the bills, which I was fine because that's the way I wanted. When we met, we had those congruent values. So it was easy. There was no kind of back and forth or fighting or like, I need you to stay at home. Well, I want to keep my job. Well, we wouldn't have been married if that was going to be a part of our situation. Those are part of the discussions you need to have up front. There's like, you know, 50 different discussions you can have. That's one of them. You know, what's the dynamic if you have kids? But we waited to have kids because she wanted to make sure that I was a person who could fulfill that role. She met me. We was together for 2 years. I had to know sure I made good decision making, had the ability to make money. I was disciplined with money. I was resilient. I was a person who was accountable when I made mistakes. You know, those are the kind of things you got to show for a significant amount of time for a woman to feel comfortable like following you. I think some people jump in there and be like, I'm the man, I got a dick, you need to follow me. That's what's up. You know, I mean, no, it takes some things that have to do. So I showed and proved first that I was the person who could, that she felt comfortable kind of putting her future in my hands. And then she did it and she's ran with it. She was just like you, Jonah. She didn't work at all outside at home for 10 years. You know, when the kids went to school and now they're older, I got like Conrad, I got 3 kids. When they're all in school doing their own projects and they kind of got their own thing going on. Now she started working again and she's loving her job because she gets to utilize some of the skills she worked so hard to develop, you know. But when she went back to school, we kind of went back to work, we kind of understood how does that affect what we got going on, and we worked it around and we came to agreement. We compromised and figure out way it could happen to where she could get what she needed, but it doesn't sacrifice everything that we had. And it's just that simple. If you aren't an asshole, either way, if the woman's not an asshole and the guy's not an asshole, and you know, you kind of just work it out. You got to have the conversations to get what you want, you know.
Well, and I love that you said that though, because like you're a champion of your wife, you know, like that to me, that seems like you guys, like you champion her and also it works for you, but it's not like I'm demanding this of you, you know, it's like these agreements that you're making that uphold and uplift each other and the vision and the dream that you're creating and building a life together. And I think that's what most women want. Like they want to be able to have the choice. They want the ability to advocate for themselves. They want the ability to live the life that they want to live, but it shouldn't cost them their identity either. So it sounds like she's just been able to really flourish right in this environment. I think that's great.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got with a woman who didn't have similar values with me. And I think that's what people get. There's this term that I hate is like flying the plane as we build it, a plane as we fly it, or some stupid shit like that. You need to figure shit out, have shit kind of set in stone. This plane needs to be fully formed, ready to move before you put it in the air, because what's going to happen, it's going to end up crashing. The whole shit's going to crash and burn. You know, we kind of figured out exactly where our values were aligned, where the things we were willing to do, and we moved from there. And because we did that, we could consistently make those decisions that we both could benefit from. I benefit from because I had somebody who shared my values and was raising my children the way I wanted. She got to stay at home and make sure that nobody else was raising her children for a significant amount of time, you know, and it was mutually beneficial because our values were in line. I think what people don't do is they don't step back from dating. They don't step back from relationships and kind of determine what their value set is and try to work to find somebody who has the same aligned value set, as opposed to just finding somebody they like, somebody that's cool, somebody who may be doing this, and then taking the time to let them show and prove that that's how they're going to be for a while, that it's not just a flash in the pan. Yes, sir.
But there's a trap. This is we being ignorant and arrogant. If you listen very carefully to Joanna and what Mara was saying, you need to know up first what is the plan. And if the plan is very similar to my plan, then I hop on the boat.
Yeah, you need to know the plan too. Same thing.
But Damon, 1 second. They are picking and choosing these men and bamboozle you into thinking it's your plan. These women are getting to the age of married and saying, I want 2 kids. I want to live in this area. I want this house, this car, and I want this and this and this. And they see Damien passing by, and Damien is just a donkey, right? And they see, oh, that donkey would carry me to the place that I want to be.
So you're saying men are stupid? You said men are stupid?
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying. Your men are asses. They're dumbasses.
Absolutely. And they will attach their motherfucking shit to you, the donkey, right? And you'll go as far as they wanted to go, pretending to, it's your plan, it's not my plan, you are driving, right, donkey? And they put the checklist on, and as soon as the donkey doesn't go to the direction they want to go, which is, I don't want to lose my identity, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, they will hop off looking for the next donkey to carry to the destination. The only difference, one second, Damien. The only difference is the quality of the donkey. Some of us are horses. Some of us are limos. Others are Ubers. Others are bus. But they are controlling every single dynamic of the relationship because you think, once again, that I will compromise for the good of this family and all that. They don't care about that. They care about me. What am I going to be in this relationship? And at the end of the day, if you pay close attention to that, the fact that you can say yes to a woman for 10 years, and as soon as you start to say no, she gets miserable and she's going to try to hop off of the relationship, shows that in no way, shape, or form you are trying to control the relationship because, listen to this, every single man on this conversation is going to lose their identity as soon as they get a kid and a family. I'm not a basketball player anymore. You're not the club promoter anymore. Will is not the man that he was before marriage. Conrad sacrificed a bunch of things that you used to do so we can actually have a family. They don't want to abdicate from nothing because if they abdicate the control, they are mad. If you get the control, they are mad. If they have the control, they are mad. Man up, be a man. And as soon as you get there, they are going to try to take the shit out of you because you are just an Uber driver. You are not driving the car. She's literally telling you where to go and where to park. It's not you.
Hold on. Okay. I think what you're doing, if there are guys like that who are exactly like that, but they're guys, well, that's not the case.
Yes.
There are guys who said that who they come to agreement and they are the people who run the show for the most part, for a lack of a better word. They're the people who said, like, okay, this is the pace that we're going at. Yes. I value your input. I value everything you said. Our values are aligned, so we're gonna get to the same place. But you can be the person that's the pace. And I think what it is I love this state.
What did you say? You are the person
you,
who do what?
You can person who sets the pace on.
Yeah, the donkey. You sometimes you run, sometimes you go slow.
No. That's very wrong because if you've ever ridden, have you ever ridden a donkey? If you hit it, you can go fast. If the person riding it can determine if they go fast, they go slow.
The person is on the carriage behind the princess. She's behind on the carriage. You're just walking around.
Well, I'm saying, but. To get off the whole donkey shit, it's just like basically what I'm saying is like to find somebody that you align with. It's not nobody. That dynamic really isn't something that you consider. Be like, okay, we agree to this. They say my wife, we agreed to. We didn't put a hard time on it. We just said when the kids are, we feel that the kids are pretty much doing their thing. Everything is pretty easy going. The kids have their things or whatever. And then it just happened to be 10 years that passed. We didn't say, okay, for 10 years, you're going to be not working. That's how it ended up coming. But say year 3, she would have said, I don't want this anymore. I want to come back to work or what have you. Then at what point would you do? You sit there and say, okay, look, this is the agreement that was made. Well, I don't want to do it. Well, this is the agreement that was made. And then you have to figure out between the two of you, can you renegotiate those terms? Or if that's a hard line where you just said you made this agreement, I'm not going to then you have to decide whether or not you want to separate. Okay. That's what it is. But if you are smart, if you really take the time to find somebody that you align with, you don't have to have those conversations 3 years down the line. I've never had to have a conversation 3 years down the line.
You are married for 15, 17, how many years?
Well, I've been with you 18, 16 years we've been together.
In 18 years, tell me 3 big decisions that your woman wanted to do and you said, no, not going to happen. 3 big decisions that you put your foot down and you says, I'm the leader of the relationship. You're not going nowhere.
She wanted kids. I wanted 3. We got 3 kids. She she wanted to live in Austin when we moved to Texas. I wanted San Antonio. We live in San Antonio. what was the last one? I wanted to spend a certain amount of house. She wanted to spend a little bit more. We spent the house is exactly the amount that I want to spend.
Okay, that's fair.
All right,
That's
thank you so much, Damon and Fatty. I want to pass it to Conrad, and I'll come back to the ladies to get your. I want to give you guys some time to get your input, and then you want to add on to the conversation. Conrad, I know. What's your response to women want that masculine leader, provider, protector, but they're unwilling to compromise and sacrifice to become the type of woman that these guys are generally looking for?
Yeah, I want to get back to the before marriage. For the ladies, or I'll speak from my anecdotal experience and extrapolate from there very quickly. When I met my wife, we were dating, talking. I think that's the first area where ladies make a mistake, and I'm just going to say it very plainly. Dating is something to ladies when it is nothing to men. Dating is talking. You need to learn that, okay? Dating is nothing than seeing, do I like you when you're annoying? And can I still like you when you're annoying? That is it. It is not courtship, okay? When I met my wife, I told her, now that I have developed feelings for you, we can now move into dating that is supposed to lead to courtship. There is to be no talk of marriage or in getting engaged for the next 3.5 years. Now, I did not have, right, Damien? I saw your face on that one. And that sounds weird. Why? Because I'm basically dictating to her what the next 3-4 years of our life was going to look like as we were courting, right? We are preparing to enter into, as the ladies have said, this life that we're going to build together. So this is the stage where we're really going to figure that out. A man that is disciplined, a man that is intentional, a man that is integral, he is not easily found and he is not easily kept. Women need to know that. So when we go back to the original topic, ladies, not you necessarily that are on the panel, but to those that may be in the comments or wherever they're going to watch this, they need to understand the man that is intentional, the man that is going to be a leader, he's going to be a protector, he's going to be that before you came along. Likewise, you should be submissive before he comes along, because you can submit to your boss, you can submit to a whole bunch of things that you want to submit to. So that should already be in you to do when he comes along. And as Damien was saying, that alignment is easier because I'm not trying to wait for you to align with yourself and how you should have been already acting. You should already be that before you get into that. And so where we're having this drop off where with men and women and whether they're willing to compromise and sacrifice to each other is because they never asked themselves that individual question when they were by themselves. Why are you guys waiting for somebody to be right in front of you and say, well, I like the way you put on your socks today. I like the way you did this today, and I'll be submissive today. That doesn't make sense. You need to be that. My grandmother gave me the single greatest piece of advice way before I even met my wife. And this was how I was able to balance myself to be able to get to the place where I'm now a husband. Okay. She said very simply, you're a man. Nobody's going to come and pick you up and marry you. So whatever you need to become now before you even meet her. So she doesn't have to worry about you becoming you. And what I'm hearing a lot is, I want to still become, I still want to do, I'm trying to figure this out. Marriage, if that's what we're aspiring to, that's what we're going to build together. But the two people, they need to already have it resolute in their minds. I am going to sacrifice. I am going to compromise. I am going to be submissive. I am going to be a leader. I am going to be a man of my word. You know the greatest thing my wife ever said to me, and I'll land my plane here. She said, since she started dating me, she's always seen me progress every year. I didn't even know she looked at it like that until she broke it down to me. She said, every year you've been able to get a raise. Everything you said you were going to do, even if you were frustrated, you went out and did it. So by the time I went and put that ring on her finger, she knew that every year next year would never look the same like it did last year. She was always going to be in a position where she didn't have to worry about being submissive, because she could just be that 24/7. Oh, you want to go run a business? Run a business. That's because I'm who I am supposed to be, and I've already aligned myself with that. I made sure I knew I was going to sacrifice for you. So I think we need to strip this down to the foundation and understand, if we're going to talk about relationships and marriage and men compromising for women and women compromising for men, you got to know that long before that person already shows up. Because I could present my best foot to you, and if you're not ready to compromise or acquiesce to that, you gonna get left. And here's the truth of it. There's a lot of pretty successful women nowadays. There are not a lot of substantial, foundational, intelligent, balanced men out there that will be the men that you actually need, not want now. Baby want a new pair of shoes, but baby needs a protector. I landed there.
Can I just add? I'm going to add something, Will.
Yes.
Because I don't want to put out the men that, like, when Freddie asked me the question about the three things decisions that I made that ultimately I had the final say on. Because, like, you know, I really do believe in the thing that Uncle Jeff says. Shout out Uncle Jeff, that her word is first, but my word is final. But you earn that shit. I earned that shit. I've had years of good decision making that moved our family forward, that she was in line with her goals as well. Yeah, I don't want you guys getting it screwed up and thinking, oh, I'm the man, I got a dick. I'm telling my wife to do. I've worked my ass off to earn that shit, to show her what she needs to feel comfortable. Like, if I say, I think it's better for us to move to San Antonio, there's a history of her thinking, okay, my husband make good decision. Let me follow. Okay, let me go ahead and be open to moving to San Antonio. Let's move to San Antonio. You know, you want 3 kids. I believe that husband is going to be there to support me with this 3rd kid, because he's shown that he was supporting the shit out of me with 2 kids. So I don't think I'm comfortable with that. That's what I don't want to put out there to men out there, that you think you can just walk in having the final say. I think it's something that you earn through the work that you to show that you are in fact resilient, accountable, and disciplined as a leader in order to justify having some of the type strong opinions and positions that you have.
No, I totally agree, Damien. I think for all the women out there, if you, I do believe women, if they will submit to a man that they trust. And I do believe that your submission is something. It's not something that you just give. I think it has to be earned for that man. Let me read some super chats real quick. T.O. on the live chat said, thank you so much for the super chat donation. Shout out to you, T.O. Thank you so much. And a quick question, T.O. I wanted the yes or no answer from the ladies. He said, super chat real quick. Ladies, any of y'all ladies looking for a house husband? Yes or no, ladies?
You know, Joanna ain't.
Joanna said, "You better get up and go work."
Fuck that shit.
Joanna's alarm clock says, "Work, work, 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 work. Get up and go work, 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 work."
All right, Sequoia, you looking for a house husband?
No.
All right, hell no. Okay. Ashley, looking for a house husband?
No.
Okay. Saba, house husband? Okay, I'll come back. That's yes, nope. Okay, I can tell. Yep. And then Lovely. I already know your situation. Hell no.
Why not?
She a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, stay-at-home mom.
Don't you guys want control? Like, that's the perfect way for you to have control. I take care of the kids and you go to work.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
I might as well be with a woman at that point. No.
Oh, you know what's going to happen? You're going to end up fighting her and divorcing her the same way, because you woman, like, there's nothing more explosive than 2 women dating.
Yeah,
I agree. That's why I would never be with one. But
no worries. Thank you so much, CEO. And he also just dropped another one. If you're married, it should be of proven inner eyes before the marriage. So you should be able to just walk in. I concur. Thank you so much. And I got to give a sound effect to Conrad. He was dropping.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Damn, Conrad, you were just dropping some heavy words out there for everybody to hear. So thank you so much. But as of right now, you guys are doing a great job on the live chat. Menelik McConan, I haven't seen you here before. Chris, I haven't seen you here before. There's a lot of new names on here. Easy Money Jones. I do appreciate you guys. Dark Relief, good to see you guys as always. You guys are pretty active in the live chat. Thank you so much for all the support. But like I said, if you want to jump on, the link is in the description. If you want to jump on as a guest, and of course, if you do want to share your opinions and your voice, drop it through a super chat. or any questions, we can respond to you guys as well. Thank you so much. I do want to give some time to the ladies real quick. I know we got a chance to hear from the fellas. I just want to give you guys some time. You guys, anything want to add on or push back? If you want to push back on some of the things that was said, let me pass it to you real quick, Seba. Anything you want to add on to what's been said so far, or anything you want to push back?
I just wanted to thank Conrad for a very new perspective, because I didn't think about it the way that he worded things out. Because when you were like, I think, I don't know if you saw my facial expression, but like when you were like, women
dating
should
is talking.
just automatically be submissive.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, because I should feel submissive in that person's presence. But then when you gave that example, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I didn't think about it that way before. So I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you so much, Seba. All right, Conrad, always appreciate it. Ashley, anything you want to add on or what's been said so far, or you want to respond to somebody? You good, Ashley?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Ashley. Sequoia?
Yeah, I just also want to say, Conrad, everything that you said, you were literally preaching. And I also, just going back to how you were saying how a lot of times people are not on that level to be able to commit and be able to, thrive in a relationship, because, and I'm not saying that because everyone's always going to evolve, right? But I think that you both need to be on the same page when it comes to, what you're looking for in a relationship. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, And then also, this might be a whole different discussion, but when you were talking about how dating isn't, or what you said, dating is talking or it's not talking.
Yeah, dating is just talking. It's not courting. It is not nothing more than just to figure out if you like the person when they're being annoying.
And I think this is just something that is personal with me, but a lot of times the guys that I would talk to, they would love bomb, right? So with that, I usually would go into a relationship very casual, right? Just getting my feet wet. But they will literally love bomb you from the very beginning and thinking that this is going to be something huge. It's going to be a relationship that's going to be years and years and years later on, and it's not, So I think, again, that's a whole different discussion that we're not talking about. But I will say that, that can kind of mess with women sometimes and what their goals are with a guy,
All right, no worries. Thank you so much, Sequoia. Joanna, anything you want to add on real quick? Respond. Just want to give you some time.
The only thing that I find fascinating, there's a lot of things I find fascinating about this evening, but marriage isn't the only goal. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't want to be married. I think there's a lot of people that have a non-traditional relationship. I think that can look like a lot of different ways. And to speak to Damien's point, like most of the relationship is negotiated, renegotiated with a partner. So not everybody is looking for a very traditional relationship. And there's room for lots of ways to do healthy relationship, in my opinion.
Okay.
Well, if there's going to be a business arrangement, there still needs to be a clear level of understanding, right? And this is what Damien is talking about, that aspect of, do we see eye to eye on even the arrangements that are going to happen? Oftentimes, men and women are not seeing eye to eye because the grand delusion of expectation. What am I going to experience? So there's a whole lot of people that are dating or trying to get in a relationship to qualify an experience that is in their mind that is not probable in reality. And that's the problem. They're not both sitting at the same business table. You're at your business table and I'm at my business table. No, we need to be at the business table. And those are different.
Are you making my point, Conrad? Hey,
I think so.
Hey, Donkey, are you going over there? Oh, me too.
I'm there. I told you I was there. I told you I was there.
Thank you, Conrad.
All right. I just wanted to add one thing. I know Fatty talked about the donkey. All right, the donkey. There's a lot of donkeys out there. There's a lot of women that they want a lavish lifestyle. They want financial stability. They want a man that can provide and protect. I think what's missing from that conversation is and just putting the accountability back on the men. I think one of the things I heard from Damien when you were talking about your marriage, there was you both had mutual values, and you both had a discussion of things that you guys were looking for your long-term committed relationship.
Long-term is important. Yeah.
So for me and I think this is my disagreement. Women, just from a biological standpoint, they're always going to seek men to be strong, masculine, provider, protectors. That's natural for women. So when I hear women talk about, I want a lifestyle and I want a good financial stability, I want a man to provide and protect, that's been happening since the beginning of time. What separates the guys that become donkeys, that typically, for a lot of guys out there, they feel like they get used by these women, is you as a man setting the expectations and making sure, and the values, and making sure that you have the same discussion with her. And I think a lot of guys are not having a discussion up front. I think Conrad, you brought up a great example. You have to sit down and look, if I'm bringing all this to the table as a man, then you have to have the conversation with the woman that you have to make sure that she's bringing something to the table as well, the things that you're looking for.
She brings a carrot,
right?
And she will dangle it so you can run faster, like a donkey.
But that's what the whole conversation Conrad was saying is if she is not coming into that relationship with the things that you're already looking for and already moving that way, then as a man, you walk away, right? Have the conversation to hold her accountable or walk away. But I think we live in a society today that a lot of guys are overlooked at because she's attractive, or because she's fine, or she got a nice body. And I think
they don't want to lose money. They think they've gotten so long and they think they're going to lose a bunch of money. So they don't want to bounce out or leave or whatever.
Because
can I ask you a question? Since you are talking, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think women, independent of the quality of them, look at men as tools?
I wouldn't say the word tools, because I think it's natural for women in her femininity to look.
It's natural. But would you believe that when a woman sees a man, says, "This man can do this for me, this for me, this for me," would it be fair to say that woman, independent of the quality, even if they have the good woman, they will look at a man like a tool? If you can do something for me, I will be with you. If you can do nothing for me, I will never engage with you. Is it fair that they look at us as tools?
I think both men and women have preferences of what they look for, what they want from each other. But I
You're
think
not answering my question, Will.
No, because I do understand there's women out there and men as well. They would use and manipulate people to get what they want, but not really wanting something long term or looking for something really connected with that person. And I do understand that, but I don't think that's the person people want anyway. So
if you ask me, hey Fatty, do you think men look at women as sex dolls? I'll say absolutely. No sex, no party for most time. No man will engage into a relationship with a woman knowing he can fuck her. Either a blowjob or a hand job. Like something simple, right? Something sexual.
Yeah.
I would say that it's very fair to say that. So can we, as men and women, kind of agree that a woman, the same way we use them as sex objects, they use us as success objects. They not glorify. They fetishize our wallets, fetishize what we can do for them. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yes, I do agree. There's a lot of women out there that want to take advantage of a man's ability to provide her the lifestyle that she wants. But for me is that's not the woman you want anyway, because what's going to determine somebody that's going to be good for marriage and somebody that's going to use it is that reciprocation. That you're both getting what you want in the relationship. So if you're providing that lifestyle to her, you better damn sure make sure that you're getting the things that you want as a man. And if you're not getting it, address it to make sure she makes the adjustments and hold her accountable. And if she's unwilling to change and make the necessary adjustments, walk away.
You know what? I'll tell you something. I would change. I wouldn't use the word as they use men as success. They use men as security blankets, as secure objects.
Yes.
Yeah. So but that's not a bad thing, because there's a level of security that you can provide. Because women can go in and say, "I want all these things." You know how we always talk about the 3 6s, and they want all this money stuff and this superficial shit. And then they end up with a guy who owns a landscaping company living in South Dakota. No shout out, no hate to South Dakota, no hate to South Dakota. But I'm just saying, it all depends on if she's really come to terms with what her value set is, and that person is meeting what those values say. When you don't know what you want, all you want is more. You want everything. That's like going to the grocery store
And that's
empty
woman in
stomach.
general.
No,
Women
that's like
don't
going
know
to the
what they
grocery
want.
store.
They get one shoe, they say this is the last one, and they buy another one, and they say I will not buy nothing anymore, and they go back to the store and pick another one.
I
That's the
don't
nature
agree
of woman.
with that. I think with age and discernment and experience, you can kind of filter down the things that you don't want and kind of make it
What is the
by
age?
eliminating the things that you
63?
don't want. What'd you say?
What is the age? 63. There's women that are 50 years old saying, "I'm healing. I'm
I'm
finding
sure
myself."
there
What
are,
is the
but there are
age?
also women that are 28 that are married who thought they wanted an NBA player, and then their husband is the night manager at Target, and they're happy as shit.
No,
You know,
because
that's what I'm
they
saying.
still
Because
want him.
no.
They
Because
still want
when
him.
you
They just don't qualify for the
when you
NBA
don't,
player.
no,
Like I
second.
want the Victoria's Secret's
No,
model,
no,
but I end up with a fast food worker because
I know a
can't
lot of.
qualify.
Hold on a second. I think a lot of people say there's a lot of attractive women out there who could have waited or done the things that would have attracted men who just wanted there for their beauty, and they could have used men for their money and all kind of stuff like that. You know, but they chose different because when they realized that they saw that this was not going to give them the long-term happiness that they were looking for.
Can you stop there? Can you stop there?
Fellas, I want to go back to the topic. I just don't want to get off the topic.
Sorry.
So I appreciate it, but I'll go back to the main topic and stay on topic. I want to ask the ladies a question because we were talking about what women were unwilling to sacrifice and compromise for the ideal men they want in a relationship. Ladies, can I ask you guys a question? What are the things that you see that men are unwilling to compromise and sacrifice for their ideal woman in a relationship with the woman they want? I want to flip it back to the men's side. So we did talk about from the male perspective. I do want to talk about from the female perspective as well, to keep it equal. But yeah, I'll start with you, Joanna. I know you have experience with divorces, but as far as what do you think? What are the things that you see that men have their ideal woman? Most most men want a submissive woman, want an attractive woman, want a good wife. To be able to take care of his household, to support him, to nurture, raise his children. A lot of men want that type of woman. But in your perspective, what are the things that these guys are unwilling to compromise and sacrifice in order to attract that good woman for his life? It's going to be a great mother for his kids, and it's going to be a great wife for him. What's your thoughts, Joanna?
Well, I kind of see things on the back end, right? So what I see on my side of things, like by the time someone gets to me, is a longevity issue of neglect emotionally and support emotionally. Most women that make their way to me are in positions where they literally feel like they sacrificed their whole lives and have never had a connection with their partner for a very long time. So I would say what ends up happening is that women will be on repeat and they will ask over and over and over and over again and say the things that they need and that they want. And if they go unmet within the marriage, eventually, like, she'll be done. And usually men are very surprised at that point because they thought she was fine, or, but she'd processed for a really long period of time before she let go of the relationship. So I think what I've noticed is that men don't want to make the changes necessary to meet her where she's at emotionally and to do the emotional growth by the time they get divorced. I can't speak for a lot of people in the pre-marriage world because I'm very much so on the back end of things. But I think by and large, that's what we're seeing in the industry of divorce anyways. And divorce lawyers would say the same, is women feeling like they're doing it all and having not a lot of emotional support at home.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. I appreciate that. So what you're saying is a lot of guys are not willing to meet the things that these women are looking for as they progress into their relationship, especially in the marriage. All right. Thank you so much, Joanna. I'll pass it to you, Lovely. Thank you for jumping on as a guest. I want to give you some time. But based on what you see, men want a good woman too, want a good wife, a good mother for children. But what are the things that you see with the men, Lovely, in general, that the things that they're unwilling to compromise and sacrifice to get the woman they want, the wife they want, and the relationship in their marriage they want?
I will probably can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I would probably have to say disrespect. I
Hey,
think
lovely.
that's one thing that.
Your audio is really low.
Let me turn this off 1 second.
Okay, I'll come back. I'll come back to you, lovely. I got you.
Thank
I'll
you.
pass it to you. I'll come back to you, lovely. Sequoia, I'll pass it to you. Based on what you see, you just had a conversation about a lot of these guys are just love bombing the hell out of you in the beginning part of the relationship. But based on what you see, women, a lot of men are saying, "I want a good woman. I want a wife material. I want a wifey. I want to be able to have a good mother of my children, to start a family, a good marriage." But what are the things that these guys say they want that, but they're unwilling to compromise and sacrifice to get that type of woman? What are the things that you see?
So I guess more on the dating world, because that's kind of where I'm at, just in my 20s, and just still dealing with people who are still trying to figure out themselves. A lot of times they like the idea of someone, but they don't want to commit. And when that happens, they still want to continue to do it. They want to continue doing the things that they would do if they're single, right? So there is no compromise. They want to continue doing what they want to do. They want to have their cake and eat it too, I guess you could say. So I guess I can't really look at it in a marriage perspective because I've never been married before. And I'm, not super familiar with all of that personally, but I think just like in the dating world in general, I think people they want that person, but they still want to do what they're doing, as if they were still single. And I think that's the problem that I've been seeing and I've been facing myself.
Okay, so you see a lot of guys are not looking for commitment, like committed.
Yeah, like they like the idea of the woman, and maybe some of them actually would want to commit, but they're scared, and they also have some more baggage too that they're trying to figure out, and past traumas. But a lot of that it messes up chances that they can have with a person.
Okay, all right, no worries. Thank you so much for sending that, Sequoia.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pass it to you, Ashley and Conrad. I saw your comment. I'll definitely come back to you once all the ladies have gone. Ashley, same thing. What are the things that you see for a lot of guys that they are unwilling to compromise and sacrifice to get the woman they want, the relationship they want?
I would say mostly them not being willing to go on their own healing journey. You see so many women screaming, "I'm on my healing journey," and going to therapy and doing all of the things. And it's such like when you hear about men talk about it, I feel like with men, they make you seem like you're weak if you do that. So in my personal experience, it's just not something that a lot of men are willing to do. A lot of men look at therapy as it's weak. You only need it if you're, mentally ill, or they're just not willing to do it. That's constantly what I see. I'm not saying that everybody needs therapy. By all means, I mean, I would probably say that, but I'm just saying that, especially if you've been in past relationships and things, which most of us have, I feel like everybody needs to go on their own healing journey, and so that they're not projecting. So yeah.
No worries. Ashley, thank you so much.
No problem.
Ashley, healing is my trigger word for men. But that's a whole different discussion. But thank you so much, Ashley. I'll pass it to you, Saba. Saba, same thing. Men said that they want a good woman. They want a loyal woman. I want a wifey. I want a good relationship. I want a committed relationship, a good marriage. But a lot of guys aren't unwilling to compromise and sacrifice to get that. So what are the things that you see, Saba, that men are unwilling to sacrifice and compromise to get that?
This might be opening up another can of worms, but I feel like society has programmed men to not be emotionally available and in tune with their emotions comfortably. Men are not allowed to show any sign of weaknesses. Men are not allowed to cry. Men are not allowed to vent. Men are not allowed to complain. And I feel like that holds a huge burden on relationships as a whole. men should be able to vent and cry and feel comfortable to express themselves in a healthy manner. I do believe a lot of men, you know, especially like men that I have encountered, they definitely need therapy because of some of the things that they have gone through, things that society as a whole normalize. Like there are things that I know like some men went through as kids where, you know, they're underage and they're getting like, you know, groomed by their teachers, but they're being told like, yo, that's all good, like you're a player, like you did good. Like no sir, no, you that's bad. So I feel like, you know, if we take into account all of those things, there is an unhealthy aspect when it comes to men, but I feel like it's not really their fault. You know, it's really the way that we've been programmed. And I feel like if men, you know, and I feel like a lot of men have been kind of like, you know, you see it now more days now than you did before. Like when I was younger, I didn't see, like, my father wasn't, I've never seen my father cry. I think I probably saw my dad cry probably twice. And each time he did, I will be very honest with you, my mom, she made fun of him. One time my father cried because he wanted his mom. And this is a 40-year-old man at this point. He cried because he wanted his mom. And my mom told him, you're a grown ass man. That's not healthy. So I feel like in all cultures, in all society, like I feel like men have been programmed to not be able to express themselves, and it holds a huge burden when it comes to their relationships. Whether it's with women, whether it's with family members, whether it's friendships, like I feel like that is something that I feel like men need to put more focus on. And once they get themselves to a point where they can become emotionally available, feel comfortable to express yourself, you can then have successful relationses.
All right, thank you so much. Real quick, Saba, I feel personally attacked because you just literally described me.
I'm just kidding. We got a panel of 6 women and nobody said other women. I mean, I'm shocked. I was waiting for somebody to say they ain't willing to give up other women to be in a relationship. I was shocked that nobody said that.
No.
I was gonna come.
I think Sequoia actually mentioned it a little bit.
Said other women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she did.
Lack of commitment to one woman.
Okay.
And Will, you wouldn't be willing to open up to another male friend about your circumstances?
Oh, say that one more. Talking to me, Fatty.
You wouldn't be okay with open up and show vulnerability to Paula Fessa or one of your good friends, if that was the case. If you feel in some type of way,
not to Paula Fessa.
No,
I think it's the way.
Yeah, Paulo's not having it.
Opening up,
throw some hair on your chest.
Opening up for men is we go to men to get solutions for the things.
Yeah, but would you be willing to show some vulnerability, show your emotions that you feel in some type of way about this? Would you be willing to do that?
I'm not like that. I'm not like that.
I'll answer your question in a second, man.
Yeah, that's just me. When I'm going through something, I already dealt it with myself, and when I go seek the advice from other men, it's not to get any sympathy. It's just get their advice of things that they can give me some input to help fix my situation.
Yes, you're a pragmatic one. Because I don't think men are emotional and available. They just choose to not do it in front of you, woman.
Yeah.
I know a lot of men, they go to other men and they vent. They go to a basketball practice. Go to a jiu-jitsu practice. We talk about these situations all the time. Man, I'm feeling bad about this. I think men are actually very open to other men. Yeah. You guys just want them to be open to you guys. And that's not going to happen because, like Shaba Mom, and shout out to her, no, not personal, most women are going to look at us funny if we do what your dad did. So
thank you so much, Fatty. But let me pass it back to the fellas. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for the great input and the things that like what you see of men aren't willing to sacrifice and compromise. Let me pass it back to the fellas. What are the things? What's your response to some of the things they said? Damien, I'll start with you. I know you wanted to respond to something.
Yeah, the hardest thing that like you got to worry about sacrificing. I think as men, it's just like, okay, you get Men love alone time. We don't want to always be under somebody, and there's times we want to be by ourselves. And when you're in relationships, a lot of times you have to sacrifice the significant amount of alone time that you get, the time to do whatever the fuck you want when you want to do it. And they miss time, like, they feel like they got to sacrifice a degree of hanging out with the fellas. That is something that can be detrimental, especially if you're hanging out with a bunch of single guys and they're like pressuring you to like do stuff, and they're out there talking about women and they want you to be out in the mix doing the same shit. And and the other women, dudes so much don't want to give up other women. They've created a whole thing called like what is it called, exercise and options, to justify not giving up other women to women. So it's just one of those things where they try to convince women like, oh, a little cheating here and there, it's all good, don't worry about it. It don't mean nothing, don't worry about it.
It's not cheating if I tell you.
No, it's not cheating if you agree to it.
Yes, it's not cheating if I agree with you. Because
if you do it and you just tell me you cheated, then it's cheating.
No.
If you say
the concept is, I will tell my woman that she's not going to be the last vagina I'm going to get inside of. There's the concept.
She agrees, then that's not cheating. Absolutely not. But I'm saying that's how many women men aren't really doing that. That's not, women are saying they're just not. They're saying it's me and you, and then they're going and screwing somebody, and then they're trying to justify it in the back end. That's what's
because they don't accept it to your life.
All right. Thank you, Damien. I'll pass it to you, Conrad. Conrad, what's the response of what the lady said? Go ahead, Conrad.
So, ladies, I'm gonna give you this, right? Clip it. You're 100% right. But here's a reason why you're right. Is because, first of all, the men that you're allowing to get to that point with you where they have been discovered as emotionally non-supportive and emotionally unavailable, is you ignored those red flags when you should have been talking and dating. That's number one. So let's not skip over that. Okay. I want to talk about very quickly, I'm gonna run through 4 points. Emotional vulnerability. There's a large majority of women that are not built to support men emotionally. You're not built. And when I say built, you're not trained from your home. That's not something you can go read a book on. You have to see that at home. And if it didn't happen at home, you can only watch so many DVDs, so many documentaries, so many books, so many self-help group theater sessions at your nearest TED Talks event. It's only going to help you so much. If you do not see what that looks like, because a lot of times when men vent, we do not want a response. We need somebody like you to first listen. Because as you're listening, we're working it out in our heads. That is the first aspect of emotional. The second part of emotional vulnerability for men is trust. You can't bring this up. I don't care if you're mad. I don't care if you get hurt. I don't care what happens. Whatever it is about me that is going to be emotionally vulnerable with you, you're not allowed to bring that up. Here's the problem. Too many women have come to weaponize this. And celebrities, those rich men, those wealthy men, those are the men that we have example of paying for it first. So the man who's on his come up, who is going to be a high earner, guess what? He's not going to be emotionally vulnerable because his mom wasn't emotionally vulnerable and helpful with that. And he didn't see it at home. He didn't see it in school. He didn't see it in celebrities. He didn't see it from the patriarchy. We didn't see it there. So let's just throw that out the door. Okay, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. You know what a man who's emotionally intelligent means? It means the minute you cross a line, you're forever going to be just talking with him because he's not going to allow you to overstep that boundary. Lastly, emotional support. It is important for men to emotionally support their spouses. That is correct. That is not given to every woman. And this is how we men get to vet. Not all women are treated the same. Right. You can't be a wife and you're Betty from the block. It's just not gonna happen like that.
All right. Thank you so much, Conrad. I'm just gonna drop a super chat real quick. I think that this is a question to the women. Or I think to the panel in general. T.O. said, what is meeting a woman halfway emotionally? That was his question. I'll just pass it to the panel. Anybody want to respond? Anybody want to respond to what he said? Just go ahead. What is meeting a woman halfway emotionally? What does that mean?
An idea. It's just words.
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Somebody said that, and the person that said it is not. I'm going to be quiet.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think we may need a little more context. Tio, thank you so much. But I appreciate you guys on the live chat. You guys are doing a great job. BL17, hey, good to see you, BL17. Thank you so much for being on the live chat. Devil, good to see you on the live chat. Definitely come on the live if you have some time. But let me pass it back. We have some new guests real quick. Milagro,
Can I ask something, Lucas? Because I didn't talk about the emotional thing, about the sacrifice thing. It's just a quick question.
Go ahead, real quick, Spatty.
Go off, buddy. Go off.
And it could be to any, like to the woman could the lady next to you. I don't know your name because I'm not the English person. Like, what will be the biggest thing that you will be willing to sacrifice? It's just to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. Like in a marriage, yes, you. What would be the biggest thing that you? No, actually, what was something that you wouldn't be willing to sacrifice? Something that you do right now that you wouldn't be willing to sacrifice if you got into a marriage?
That I wouldn't?
Yes.
From someone who's never even been engaged or in that, I'm just honestly been dating. What I wouldn't compromise,
something that you do already right now, yes.
I don't think it would be anything that I would be doing. I think it would just have to do with like my values and like putting it in that type of box there. So not exactly like, I guess, because when it comes to a guy that I would be fully, I don't know.
You are completely compatible with the man in terms of values and all that. But he will tell you, for example, stop dressing that. Don't go there. Don't talk with this. Tell me one thing that you like, your Instagram. Delete that. Tell me one thing that you wouldn't be willing to say there to compromise. Yes.
I mean, yeah, if it's the right person, then yeah. If it's social media, like fuck social media. Like I will get rid of my Instagram. I'll get rid of whatever. Like I don't care. Like I don't want to be with someone and doing something that makes them feel uncomfortable. If that makes sense. Okay. So like, you know what I mean? So if me having an Instagram, I mean, even though that might be silly to my mind, in my mind, if that's something that's uncomfortable for them, I'll get rid of it.
And that's perfect.
You know?
That was an answer that I wanted to hear because on the show before, I asked the same question and they were talking about retreats and social media and all that. And one thing that I want the ladies to understand, right? We are willing to sacrifice our lives for you. There's no biggest sacrifice than me willing to die if there's a fire, if I'm willing to be hungry, if we have only 2 pieces of chicken, I'm willing to be cold. If we only have 1 jacket, I'm willing to literally put my livelihood and my well-being on the line to show that I love you. So it's kind of very difficult for me to hear women telling what they wouldn't do for a marriage, like in a marriage, when 90% of the men I know, if the Titanic is sinking, they will give you the last seat and they will go down with the ship. Sure. That's kind of
Fatty. My one quick response. I just want to correct you.
Go ahead.
Because you said guys are willing to sacrifice their lives for the women.
Yes.
Masculine men are willing to sacrifice their lives for their women and for their family. Most guys today, in today's generation, in the live chat, online, most of these guys are not willing to sacrifice that.
Why?
Because most guys are not moving in their masculine.
But you are wrong. Because most of them will die, for example, for their mothers. They understand the definition of sacrifice. They're just not willing to die for a woman that is not willing to change a motherfucking dress because she thinks you are controlling and you are insecure. There's levels to this. You even a weak man, like even remember, Will. Let me just say one thing real quick, and I promise.
I understand the mother and the sister part, but we're talking about a family, a marriage, a wife.
No, I got you, Will. But remember the Aurora shoe thing. I don't want to say the full word. Remember that on the Batman premiere when somebody had a gun and he sprayed everybody. They found 4 male bodies covering their girlfriends and wives. Instinctually, the man had the gun, he did what he had to do, and those men either be weak, strong, or indifferent as a first response to something that happened. They, instead of actually running away or hiding behind their woman, they actually cover the woman that they love. That's most men
I
will.
want to ask you something, Fatty. Let me ask Fatty something.
Men, that's most men.
But Fatty, do you think what happens? Do you think more women willing to sacrifice their lives for something for their men, or men willing to sacrifice their lives for women?
Men, absolutely. Women are survivalists.
Okay, so
every time, let me just give you context. Every time a tribe invades another tribe, women are not willing to die with the men. When the Germans invaded France, those women could say goodbye because my husband died, but 1 million of them had kids by German soldiers, and there's no problem with that. I'm just saying that since the beginning of time, women are not willing to go down with the cheap. They will literally turn around and sell themselves to the winners and reproduce with them and make babies with them. That's what they've been doing since the beginning of time.
Let me give you some real world situations. All right, basically what happens.
That's not real world.
Yeah. I'm talking about real current, modern, more modern situation. Put it in a more modern context. You know, my wife, we've got 3 kids. My first kid was a emergency C-section. My wife was a lot of going on. She had a fever and all kinds of stuff was going on. Emergency C-section. And the doctor came to both of us and said, if I can only save one of you, this is a real story. If it comes to the point where you have to have this conversation. If I only can save one of you, who am I going to save? My wife said, save our baby. Because I save our baby. I want you to have save our baby. I will sacrifice for our baby. You know, women, and I think this gets, you know, the women sacrifice. Anytime a woman has a baby, there's a possibility that they could die. Anytime, whether it could be small, it could be large, whatever. There's a possibility. My wife has Native American heritage in her. A woman who gave birth, if she died in childbirth, was given a warrior's funeral because they view childbirth as war.
Yes.
So you're saying that, okay, men are willing to jump in front of a bullet. A woman, every time a woman is willing to bear a child for a man, she is putting her life on the line. She is willing to die to provide, to move on. What you call it? No, I'm just saying. I'm saying
that you are doing a red herring. I never said that women wouldn't sacrifice for their kids. I'm saying women are not willing to give their lives for their husband. And you know why, Damien? Let's put it to the test, Damien. If something happened and you had to choose between you and your wife, who would die?
Me.
Checkmate.
And what I'm saying, but if she made this, if it's the same choice, she would pick the same one.
Not yourself.
No. Hold on a second. And that's why I'm going to put in a real world context. Okay, just real quick. Is like the reason that it was for me, like I said, my one wife wanted 2 children, I wanted 3. So if she had another child, put herself in harm's way to do something for me, that to have another child that I wanted. I'm saying when you have to recognize that women sacrifice. Okay, all right. If you can view it as, but I'm just saying
for your kid, it's not for you.
Okay. Appreciate it. We can agree to disagree on that one, but I want to get back to the topic of compromise and sacrifice. Balafessa, good to see you in the live chat. I think somebody said your name on here. I think that you popped up. All right, but thank you so much. I want to pass it back to the ladies before I bring up the last topic that we're going to discuss before we conclude. Anything you guys want to add on, Sequoia, Joanna, and Ashley, and Saba? You guys are good? Okay. All right, no worries. I want to bring up this last question because I did put it up on my social media as a poll. I wanted to ask everybody in public, in general, who are more willing to compromise today, right? So usually when we have traditional relationships, we understand that if you're traditional, it's not even a conversation that you're willing to compromise and sacrifice for that outcome. But we do understand that most men and women today are no longer traditional today. So I want to ask you guys, who are more willing to compromise and sacrifice today for their ideal relationship? Is it the men or is it the women? Because I did a poll on my social media and I asked the men and women who follow me and said, hey, who are more willing to compromise and sacrifice for their ideal partner and for the relationship? A majority of the response from that poll was they said that most women today are unwilling to compromise and sacrifice. And the explanation was, and I got this from somebody that responded to my story. She said the reason why most women today are unwilling to compromise and sacrifice is because of the unlimited attention that they get from men online. So a lot of women today are getting so much attention from men online. So they have this illusion that they think that they have a lot of options because all these guys are either sending them DMs or giving them attention. So they think that they have a lot of options. So they don't realize that they need to change. They need to make a change or sacrifice or compromise because they think that, there's always a guy out there that I can always be with, or there's always a guy that's willing to be with me or willing to take me as I am right now. So that was the feedback that I got from a woman on my Instagram. Was she said that most guys deal with in reality because most guys it's hard for them to be with a woman because they have to provide a lot of things before they get qualified to get access to women. But as women, you guys can just pick and choose who you want. And because you guys get a lot of attention from men, not only online with the likes, but also from a lot of guys in your DMs, a lot of women don't feel to need to change compromise because, well, I don't need to change a compromise for this man because because I can always be with this guy that's willing to give me what I want. But the conversation is that the guys in your DMs or the guys that are giving you the validation online, those aren't the guys that you would want to be with anyway. Those are the guys just want to have sex with you, or they're weak, they're feminine. But Conrad brought up a great point earlier in the podcast. There's a lot of attractive women out there in the world, but there's a very few men who are moving with their masculinity, with their values, with their intentions, and going to have strong boundaries and to have a plan of what they want, especially the outcome of the woman in the relationship they want. So what's your response to that? Do you think that if we had to have a discussion, who do you think is unwilling to compromise in general? Do you think most men are unwilling to compromise and sacrifice in general, or I think most women are willing to compromise because we live in a generation today that there's so many options out there, especially online. And I know all you ladies are attractive. I'm sure there's a lot of guys giving you likes, a lot of guys probably reaching out to you. So there's a lot of women who feel like, well, I don't need to compromise and change because I have 5 guys in my DM. So why would I change for this guy? This guy doesn't not willing to take me as I am. Then I can let that man go because I can always go with the guys in my DM. What's your response to that? I'll pass it to you, Sequoia.
So I think that question's kind of subjective and it just depends on the person, that individual. But I want to go back to, them talking about like all these men are in our DMs. We don't want these men. I'm going to tell you right now, these are the people that we really are like, can they leave us alone? Like, if only they knew that those are not the people that we want the attention from. So I think a lot of times people, or I guess guys will assume that, oh, she's good because we got all these. We don't want these men. We wish they would leave us alone. But yeah, I think when it comes to that initial question, that's a hard one because again, it depends on the person and where they're at in their life, and what level they're in, and if they find the person who is right there with them. If not, I don't know. That's hard. That's really, really hard. I don't know if I can answer that.
I know where Sequoia. That guy that's talking to himself in your DM is punching the air right now.
Oh, wait.
He's watching this right now. It's like, damn. Okay. All right, Joanna, I'll pass it to you. Just the question in general. I'm just talking about in general. Are most men and women willing to compromise? Are most men willing to compromise and sacrifice, or are most women aren't? Like, who do you think tends to be willing to compromise and sacrifice a little bit more than the other? What's your thought, Joanna?
Well, I mean, there's a part of me that looks at what we're seeing women do now, which is divorce is most often triggered by the woman, right? There's this study that they put out. I don't know how accurate it is, that by 2030, most women in between the ages of 29 and 40 will be single. So I actually like to answer that question based off of that. I would say women are not willing to compromise and sacrifice. But I also think that comes from the amount of sacrifice that they've already given and where they feel like it is no longer worth it. So I think that that is becoming a big component as to why women are not compromising anymore, and are not sacrificing as much as we used to. And that's definitely something we see a lot on TikTok, right? You get on the women's side of TikTok and you're going to see women saying, don't settle, don't do all these things. But I also think that women are incredibly, like, as much as we're supportive of each other, it can be really difficult to talk about the things that we experience in relationship because there's so much judgment of, like, I was just talking to some girlfriends about this the other day. There's judgment when you say you've experienced something with a partner and your friend will be like, why did you settle on that? Why did you, you know? And so we are also in conversations where it's almost like too vulnerable to share with someone what's actually happening in a relationship. It makes it harder to make decisions. And then we start convincing ourselves that maybe we should be compromising more, or we shouldn't be, or we, you know, so there's a lot of difficulty that women are facing navigating relationship and just feeling like we're fucking up constantly. And then, like, there's this big, like, don't fuck up next time, you know, like that. Any woman who's been through any period of relationship of 5 years or more has had that experience where you question all of your life's decisions, you know. So I do think on this one, I don't know how to the degree men are willing to compromise or sacrifice, but I do think that women are pulling back on that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you so much, Joanna. I'll pass it to you, Ashley. Yeah, same question. In general, do you think more who do you think that are more willing to sacrifice and compromise more than the other, the men or the women, in general, based on what you see?
I'm with them. I don't know how to answer that question exactly. Like I said earlier, I think anyone is willing to compromise for the right person. So I can't really answer that. But as far as what Sequoia was saying with, like, or what you were saying with the DMs and stuff, for one, I don't think that that's just on the women's side either. Now, I can't speak for all men, but especially the attractive ones that are highly, you know, present on social media, y'all are getting DMs too. Like, I have friends that read some DMs from women to me, and I'm like, I didn't know that women DM'd like that, but holy. But I'm just saying, like, for me, I like I had mentioned earlier, I'm recently single. I go live on TikTok. You cannot even imagine the messages that I get, but I don't open. Like, when I was in my relationship, I wasn't opening them. So, and I wasn't looking for that anyway. I'm not on there for that. I don't care about that. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know exactly.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Can I just ask a real question, just to get some contrast about the type of the difference of attention of what women get compared to men? If you guys don't mind, if I ask you this question, on average, how many random DMs do you guys get from guys on your social media? Just like a estimate number. Sequoia.
Oh God.
Say in a week. Like, just throw a number out there by estimation.
Like 10 plus. I don't have a whole lot I don't have a big following, you know, but
okay. So 10 plus guys a week randomly just, you know, slide in your DM. What about you, Joanna?
Yeah, it's around the same, 2-3 a day.
2-3 a day, like
on
10
TikTok.
plus?
Instagram never. TikTok is feral. I don't know if it's just TikTok, but I don't get nearly the traffic that I do on TikTok on Instagram as I do on TikTok.
Yeah, all right. Because we got some attractive men and women on this panel. Ashley, on average, just throw a number in a week.
A week?
Yeah.
Y'all are gonna make me feel probably like 100, and I'm just being honest.
Okay, 100. Okay, that's not being real. 100. All right, 80 of them probably from India. Okay. Saba. Oh, you're on mute, Saba. You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah. In a given week.
In a week, I would say my number is probably pretty close to Ashley's. If we're factoring in all social media, like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, it's at least 100.
100. Okay. In a week. Okay. So I'm gonna pass it to the fellas. Right. When social media started, I'm gonna ask. I won't ask for your number in a week, fellas. I'm gonna ask for your lifetime number. Lifetime. Damien, how many of you random DMs you got from girls lifetime? Not a week. Lifetime. You're on mute, Damien. You're on mute.
Lifetime. Maybe 15. But you want to hear something crazy? I had to make my wife unfollow my page because when I started posting her, she would get DMs from people finding her off my page. She got more DMs from my page than I did. So yeah, maybe 15 lifetime, but she's got 15 in a month.
15 lifetime, okay. Conrad, lifetime, not a week, lifetime.
That landed 10.
So 10 in your lifetime.
Yeah, that landed 10.
Yeah. I think for me about the same 10 to 15 lifetime.
Yeah, lifetime.
Yeah. We're not talking about the fake solicitation. Come check out my page and look at my, not those.
No, not those.
Okay.
That's why I said landed.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just, on social media, women get a lot more attention compared to the average guy. So it's a lot different. It's a lot different. I know.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
So also adding to what you were saying, but when it comes to some guys, they try to seek validation from other women. And the last person I was with decided to follow tons and tons of women online. And then kind of going back to compromising, I think when I asked the one thing that was my boundary, I need you to, and it's not about insecurity, but I want to feel secure in a relationship. And I want to feel like I'm the only woman. So I feel like, you following and liking all these pics, and it's not even you can like a pic and go about your day, I feel like, but to follow the page and then give them a whole bunch of likes, there's some type of intent, in my opinion, on why you're doing that.
Yeah.
And
should have asked him his body count.
Yeah. And so it's I don't even know why I decided to go down this rabbit hole here, but just, I think sometimes guys just feel like they need to seek validation because we're not enough.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you for sharing that. Sequoia, let me just read this super chat real quick from T.O. If y'all suddenly stop getting all that attention, y'all will fall into deep depression within a month. Well, I think women who are addicted to attention and validation, I think they will probably get depression. But I think the women who are secure in themselves, not looking for validation from random stranger men, I think that won't be a problem.
Actually, Will is single, so he's answering from a single guy.
Will single.
Has a podcast. He's on
successful
social media, so successful. So yeah.
His hair's still intact. His beard's intact. It's not the high patchy. He's got a great, wonderful smile. Look at him. Turn to the left. Turn to the right.
Yeah, I appreciate it, fellas. All right. That's the first compliment I got in a year. Appreciate that. And that came from a man, not a woman. All right. Thank you so much, Conrad. But Ashley, I think you all responded. It was more. I think all the ladies responded.
100.
Yeah. I think everybody responded. I think Ashley responded, Sequoia, Joanna. So I'll let me pass it to the fellas from the male perspective. In general, but based on what you guys see, do you guys are men more willing to compromise and sacrifice, or women? Who's more willing to compromise over each other? Go ahead, Damien.
Yeah, I think men are willing more compromise. It's because men want sex so bad that they're willing to compromise all kinds of shit. they're always ready to risk it. Some guys are always ready to risk it all for sex or attention from women or validation from women, or in some cases validation from other men. So men compromise more.
Okay, Conrad.
Yeah, I'll actually choose my phrasing of my word very, very carefully. Men sacrifice more, women compromise more. You look at the word compromise, for women compromise themselves on their standards, their beliefs, their quote unquote values to try and reach an endpoint, like I said before, or a realization out of a man that they don't have no business trying to do that. Women, if I could give you one piece of advice to the ones that are on this panel, to the ones that are in the chat and everywhere, y'all can't change a man and y'all can't fix a man. And that's the first thing you need to accept and realize. It's in your nature to love and nurture a man. It's not in your ability to fix and change a man. The minute you start trying to do that is the minute you are already compromising what you're trying to achieve. You compromise your ability to sacrifice. I think if you remember what Damien said when he was going about to find his wife, or let's say lock her in to become his wife, he innately started changing certain things about him. He sacrificed those things. It's not that they were so hard, but you see how he defined it? He said, I liked those things, but I love my wife. And that is the foundation of that sacrifice. So when it's not a fairy tale now, this is lived out. It's the same thing for me and my wife. I love her. I love seeing her happy. So she doesn't have to ask me or beg me to give up something. I'm looking at it saying, I know this is going to be a deterrent to her, and it's not something that can help build our life. Toodaloo. I think women, you have to go back and look at that and have that accountability of choice to land that plane. Men do sacrifice more, but women compromise more. Women need to stop compromising themselves. And the minute they can do that and disjoin yourself from the sisterhood trauma, because that is something that is hella toxic. You've gone through your own trauma. You can't heal from your trauma, and you're reliving your girlfriend's trauma, auntie's trauma, grandma's trauma, mama's trauma. Like, you're going to have to separate from that, because that's also compromising your ability to go forward and be sacrificial to one man if that's what you choose to do, as Joanna put it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Conrad. I think, Conrad, everything you just explained right now, it just comes down to accountability. Accountability. And I think that's one of the things that we talk about in the masculine mind. For a lot of the women out there, the 3 tenets of masculinity is accountability, resiliency, discipline. You mentioned that before, Damien. Mm-hmm. That's why for the women out there, especially the women on the panel, if your man is not accountable for his life to make the decisions and the things that he needs to improve on, to change, for the betterment of the relationship and the marriage and for you, then that's something that you should consider as something that could be a red flag if he's lacking accountability, because there's never been a man that's moving in his masculine who is not accountable for his own life. The last question I want to ask you guys, and shout out to everybody on the live chat. Before we conclude, you guys doing a great job on the live show. I appreciate you guys that being super chatting. But we always talk about accountability. Ladies, do you guys like men who are accountable? Accountability? Yes? Yes? Okay. All right. Ladies, do you consider yourselves accountable women? That you guys would try to practice accountability the best way you can? Yes? Okay. This was a question I wanted to respond to Saba. She said something, but she's not here. I wanted to respond to her. But this is the question I want for you guys. I want to ask you, ladies. And what is something that men are looking for? Masculine men. I'm not talking about the weak, feminine men. The men in your DMs punching the air right now that you don't want. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the masculine men, the provider protectors, men with the qualities that we just discussed: accountability, resiliency, discipline, intentional, has a plan, stays true to his values and boundaries, and he truly respects you as a woman. He loves you and is willing to sacrifice his life for you and the relationship. What is something that as a woman that these men are looking for but you find it really, really hard to compromise or sacrifice or change for said man. And you're just going to, and that's something that you're being accountable right now that you're trying to work on for yourself. So I'm going to say that one more time. What is something that these men are looking for that you absolutely know that these men are looking for, but you also know for yourself, because you're being honest with yourself, I struggle with that, and it's hard for me to make the changes because of my past experiences with the men in my past. And the reason why I brought that up was, Saba, if you're watching this right now, shout out to Saba. All right, if you're watching this right now. But the reason why I wanted to ask this question, because when I mentioned the word follow, right? If you want a man to lead, by definition, there has to be a follower, right? Two people cannot lead. That's just rationality right there, right? But she had but when I said the word follow, she had a very triggering response where she didn't like that word. And I could tell off rip the way she responded to that. I know for a fact she is the type of woman it's hard for her to follow the leadership of a man. And I wanted to ask her the question, if she was still here, that question, right? Because if you want a man to lead, then by default that you have to follow that man. But also, I did preface in the beginning of the podcast, you should not follow any man. Damien said it on this podcast before, right? He has to earn that from you. He has to show consistency and work through long periods of time to earn your submission, to earn that ability for you to trust him to lead you. So if you just don't give that man, any man, just because he has some balls, like Damien said, doesn't mean you just follow him. You meet him on the first day and you follow him. That man has to earn that from you. And that was just one example I wanted to bring, but I want to bring it back to you guys. We're talking about accountability. I do believe in accountability for both men and women. If the ultimate goal is to bring men and women together, because we are better together than apart, then for both men and women, from the conversational compromise and sacrifice, we do have to be accountable of the things that we need to work on to make those compromises and sacrifices to get that outcome we want. So I just want to pass it to you, ladies, and we'll come back to the fellas, and then we can conclude the podcast with that. What is something that you know that these guys, the type of caliber men I just described, the men that you want, that you know that this man is looking for, this is the qualities that he's looking for in a woman, but you know for a fact as a woman you find it hard. It's hard for you to make that sacrifice or make that compromise. And if you wanted to share that one thing, what is it? I'll start with you, Sequoia.
I think and men correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you guys want someone who is submissive to you, but like you were saying, Damien, you have to earn that, especially with past relationships and stuff. You want to be able to you want to be able to fully trust someone. You want to be able to, because as a woman, I don't want to be in my masculine in a relationship. I want to be able to be in my feminine. And I feel like a lot of times I feel like I still need to be in my masculine and have those walls up because someone's not making me feel secure or, things like that. So, for me, I think men want someone that can fully trust them and, where they can be submissive to and be able to lead. But again, they have to earn it. We don't get to just allow them to follow us. I feel like they have to earn that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Sequoia. So for you, just try to be more consistent with your femininity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you so much for sharing that. Mm-hmm. I'll pass it to you, Joanna. Same thing. What's that one thing?
Oh, I feel like there's like a list. If I were to boil it down, I don't know. I can't speak from a man's perspective. That's really hard for me to do because I just don't know. But I do think for me personally, it is really difficult for me to depend on other people in general. It's been like a very long life from poverty as a kid, very, very poverty-stricken family, to surviving in so many ways in my life. So I think that is really hard for me still. Like to even if someone wanted me to depend on them, that would take me a very long time to see that play out, like a couple of years before I'd be willing to be like, oh, okay, that's something that's safe for me to do with you. Trust is also something that's really tough for me, that unless I see that over a long period of time. But I recently heard someone say this, like, about trust. I don't know if anybody's heard about this or has anecdotes on it, but one of my friends who has a PhD in psychology, she said to me one day that trust is given and it's not earned. And that, like, I was sitting there, I was like, what do you mean by that? And she said, well, we think that it's earned. She's like, obviously behavior over a long period of time is how we know that we can go down a road with somebody. But she was like, really, trust is given. And she's like, but we think we can put people through hoops in order to earn it from us, when it's really a decision that you make yourself. And I had never really seen trust from that perspective before. So that's definitely something that I'm looking at within myself as I grow in my life.
Yeah, I think this is my response to that quote, that trust is given and not earned. I think what she's talking about is you should always be up, like when it comes to respect, right? I'm always going to give my respect to everybody I meet, right? Because I believe in being respectful, right? But I give it until you show me and prove me otherwise. Then I stop giving it. You know, right? So I think a lot of times with people who have a lot of issues, so I'm so afraid to respect anybody. So you stop being respectful because the last relationship, the last person you experienced disrespected you. So a lot of times people will stop doing the very good things that made them a good person because of a past experience, and that can be repelling, or that can come off that can repel the very people you're trying to attract, or the relationship you're trying to attract. So like I think I was talking to one woman, she was always opening with very compassionate, loving attitude, but then she went through a recent breakup, and then that attitude just changed. She became more pessimistic. Like especially the way she treated men, the way she saw men because of her past relationship. So I think when it comes to the things we're trying to give, I think we should always give, because that's what relationships are, is giving, investing. But I think that's what she means. Like if you're respectful, loving, caring, as a woman, nurturing, all the things that makes you beautiful, the things that men value in you, give it, because that's the only way for us men to know that you have those qualities. And I think sometimes women put those guards up and we can't really see those things to know that you're that type of woman, or the type of woman we want to be with. But like I said, they have to earn it. So, but I think the earn means reciprocation. So if you give those things to a man, he reciprocates it. But if you're giving those things to a man and he doesn't reciprocate it back to you, then you have to stop giving those things to a man. I think, or find somebody else. I think that's the mistake a lot of people have. So, I mean, that's my interpretation. I could be wrong. I'm not a psychology expert, even though I did go to college for psychology. but I mean, I could be wrong. But that's the way I interpret it. Give until they prove otherwise, and then once they prove otherwise, then they better have to like earn it back if they even want to get a chance to get back with you. Anybody else want to add on to that or no? Okay, you guys good? Okay. All right. So for you, Joanna, it's just depending on the man, especially financially, right? The financial part. I know you brought it up in the beginning of the podcast. It's going to be really hard for you, especially from your past relationship, to fully trust a man to be that provider, protector for you fully.
I don't know that it's that. Well, I don't look for that from a man personally. I don't. That's not what I want from somebody. So I think like for me, it's like depending on them emotionally to be the lead. Like I have never seen someone be able to step in and lead. I've just never met anybody like that. So I don't know that the trust for me is like, can you really lead me somewhere? And that's what goes in my mind when I'm meeting people and when I'm pursuing people and learning who people are and exploring those options, because like there's part of me that when I see how they live their lives, I'm like, no, I would never follow you anywhere, you know? So it's that piece of me understanding myself and what I need in order to be able to do that.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Thank you so much, Joanna. Appreciate that. I'll pass it to you, Ashley. Same question. Yeah. What's the one thing that you know that these are the things that men are looking for in women, but it's the very thing that you struggle with to provide them?
I would say something that I definitely have struggled with is being submissive, honestly, and allowing them to lead and I guess be put first. I'm a single mom of 3 kids, and that's hard to do. So that would definitely be my biggest thing for sure.
Okay, be submissive.
Yeah, that would be really hard. I mean, because you're designed to put your kids first, and all of a sudden you got to see about how can you that. I think you would need a guy who understands that for a while he's going to be fourth in line until he does a significant amount of proving, and he'll baby step his way up to lead in that situation.
She would need actually somebody who was raised by a single mother, straight up. And that guy would have that experience firsthand to be able to understand.
I think she needs to be with a guy that already has kids.
Yeah.
Or that
somebody that not even just has kids, because been there, done that. Somebody that actually there's being a dad and there's being
raising
a present
kids,
dad.
Exactly.
Like they're raising kids, and it's two different things.
She needs a masculine man who already has kids.
She needs what's his name? Michael Brady from the Brady Bunch. Mike Brady. 3 kids of his own.
All right.
Doing it.
I would never blend a family. I would never do it.
Yeah.
No way.
But fellas, to pass it back to Conrad. Thank you so much for your genuine answers. I really appreciate that. We're going to talk about accountability here. I think that's much needed in the space. But Conrad, Damien, from the male perspective, what's your response to a lot of the things that they said that they're trying to work on and improve on for the men that they're looking for? Anything you want to add on?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talk about this so much, Will. It's just like, I think what's happening is that whole like trust thing and trusting the man to lead and submissive thing. I think that just comes from a lack of men stepping up and showing women, because or showing or taking the time to show women that they're worthy of being followed. If followed is not an offensive word. I don't find it offensive, but I don't think my wife finds it offensive either. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, and the way I think guys need to do that is they need to have fucking plans. I'm like, you got to have a plan of action. Like when I got with my wife and we decided that she was going to stay home, I had to have a fucking plan. I'm like, how is this going to work? I had a plan, and that plan, and I act on it on that plan, and the plan had benchmarks and stuff like that, where it's just like, she saw, okay, this is actually happened. He's actually doing the things that he said he was going to do. It's aligned with the plan that we both have, and my plan had to include what she wanted out of life, and for the most part. So it was just one of those things where I think men got to be better in as far as be better leaders. I think, but transversely, I think women need to be open to be led if the man is putting in work and not be blinded by like superficial material stuff. There's a guy out there, and I always tell like women on these panels, there's a guy in your circle right now that loves the shit out of you, who would do all the things and be that guy for you, but just you're not attracted to him because sometimes you may be blinded by some superficial stuff. He's too short, or he got a little belly, or he chews funny, something superficial, maybe blocking you from a guy who really wants to put in the work to show you that he's that guy that's going to lead you, and he'd be willing to put in the work and come with a plan for to make you guys happy. So I think I think as men we need to teach other men how to be better leaders and how to develop a plan and develop the values that they can, that's set as their cornerstone, and like find somebody to align with that. I think there's too many guys out there just spitballing it,
Yeah, thank you so much, Damien. And Conrad, anything you want to add on before we conclude?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same thing. It's something that I've always said time and time again. And as people get to know me within the space, and I share time with, Will and Damien and the brothers, I will always say this: the integral man, the balanced man, the foundational man, the man of principle, the man who will get up and do, and his ability to accomplish is not dependent upon if a woman is there. I think the problem that women may be running into is that men are trying to prove themselves in an instant when they haven't proved themselves over a span of time. And so both Will and Damien are completely correct that a man without a plan is a man that should never be chosen, and should never be chosen because you don't know what to expect. It's not that you can't guarantee an outcome. You might be able to guarantee some type of outcome, but it's going to distort what you had, and it can distort your ability as a woman to be able to be submissive, to be able to follow. Following is a wonderful thing. Being submissive is a wonderful thing. It is a power unto its own, and there's no way to duplicate it. But I can only tell you that as a husband who experiences that, and I've never had to ask that from my wife, because I've always been the man with the plan. It's always been, babe, I'm going here, and in exactly 48 hours, 48 hours, 35 minutes, in the next 36 seconds, this is going to materialize, whether I'm tired or not. And so I've seen my wife rest in that, and that's the only thing I can just add on to what has already been said, and kind of double down on that. A man must have a plan at all times, and he must be able to accomplish. He must be a man that is foundational, balanced, principled, and integral above all.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not going to get it off right off, but it's an amazing feeling the first time you hear, "Okay, baby, I trust you. You got it." That's amazing feeling for a man when he hears that. Like, I trust you, got it.
When you hear, "Okay, babe," I love that.
It may be something. It may be you be together for 2-3 years, and and then you make a decision that you might consider insignificant, but to her it's significant, and she just say, "Okay, baby, I trusted you. I trust you. You got it. You got it."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That just fuels the man to go out there and conquer the world for you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. And my final thing I just want to add, I know for a lot of guys, I see it online, they criticize a lot of women, saying that these women, they're unwilling to take accountability, they're unwilling to change for the men they want. But I do also agree with the women's side. And then Joanna, you brought up a great example. You've never seen that in your life. How are these women supposed to make changes for things that they've never seen in men in general? Mm-hmm. So if you want women to understand what leaders and masculine men are looking for, then for all the men out there, be fucking masculine and be a leader and be intentional and be about your business when it comes to relationships and dating. So it has to be both ways. But a lot of guys I do see online, these women don't respect our boundaries and the boundaries of masculine, strong men. And my question is, are you a strong, masculine man? That's my question. All right. So
fair question.
Are you a strong masculine man? Do you have a plan? Are you moving? Are you intentional? Do you stand by your boundaries and morals and values? Because oftentimes when you have conversation, it is an unfortunate world, and it's a product of society and the times that we're in. But I do have conversations with a lot of women, and they've never seen that quality or type of men in their life, even from their own family, even from their own fathers. So, but I think this is why we have these conversations, and I appreciate you guys for jumping on for tonight to have this open conversation and figure out solutions. So, but we have come to the end. Thank you so much. Shout out to the panel and everybody on the live chat. All right, thank you so much. We had a great show. Thank you so much, Sequoia, Joanna, Ashley. The strong survive. All the way to the end. Only the strong survive. So I gotta give kudos to the ladies. You guys have made it this far. So I have confidence in you guys, and of course in the men you're gonna attract long term. But what's your final thought? Shout out to everybody on the live chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. T.O., everybody that dropped the super chat. I appreciate you guys. I saw a lot of new names here tonight, and I can't read out all the names. But if you're here for the first time, and you value the content and conversation, please, the best way to support is to smash that like, subscribe button real quick. And also, please, there was a lot of guys and new ladies dropping a lot of knowledge here tonight. Please support them in their podcasts, Conrad, Damien, Joanna, Sequoia, Ashley, and the previous ladies on the panel. Whatever platforms that they were on their platforms, because they dropped a lot of good things on the podcast as well. Please support them as much as you guys support my channel as well. So the conversation was great. We had a lot of fun tonight. There was a lot of laughter and good back and forth and pushback. Shout out to Fatty for jumping on and doing what Fatty do.
That's our boy.
All right. But yeah, it's always good
Shout
to hear
out
from
to Fatty.
different perspectives, especially if it's something that it's something that you've never heard before. But I'll pass it back to the panel. Ladies, what's your final thoughts with tonight's discussion, takeaways, anything you learned from tonight, and how can people find you? Drop your socials so that way people can support you and find you. Maybe there's a masculine man watching right now. He's like, oh, I found my woman tonight. And they can, they can slide in.
It's happened.
It's happened before. It's happened before on this podcast. It's happened before. All right. So I pass it to you. I'll start with you, Sequoia. Final thoughts and takeaways from tonight's pod. How can they find you, support you?
Oh, man, I think I got a lot of perspective, especially a lot of male perspective that I needed, honestly, when it comes to accountability and compromise from both perspectives and everything. And I think I'm going to take all of that with me and apply that to whoever I'm going to be with next. And, you know, obviously, like the past relationships, you learn and you grow and whatnot. But I want to just thank everyone because I learned a lot from every single one of you, and I appreciate each and every one of you. When it comes to the platforms, y'all not getting my Instagram, so you can go in my DMs. I'm just kidding. This is my first time ever being on a podcast, so I was definitely nervous. But it was really fun.
Good.
Thank you. I'll just give you my Instagram, but don't get any ideas. It's my first name, SAQUOIAH_H. Follow me. Don't be a creep. I'm just kidding.
It's gonna happen. So
oh, God. Yeah, I'm setting myself up, and no, it's okay. But yeah, so thank you guys. All
right. Thank you so much, Sequoia. If you do slide in, just give me a shout out. I'm from the Golf God podcast. I'm just give me a shout out if you slide in somebody's DM, just to let them know. All right. I'll pass it to you, Joanna. Thank you so much, Joanna. I really appreciate your perspective and also your experience as being in dealing with divorces. When you're back and forth with Fatty, I learned something that I never heard before. So it was good to hear from your perspective. But Joanna, final thoughts and how can they find you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was really fun. I definitely think, the work that I do is predominantly with women. So my mind was pretty blown this evening, like hearing a completely different perspective to relationship. And I so appreciate that. I also appreciated having people that are married, people that are not married, people that are dating, people who've never been, like, it was just nice to have a panel with that much diversity of lifestyle. As far as where you can find me, also, I like the giving you a shout out in the DMs. It's like building rapport, when you send someone, you're like, hey, I know you from so-and-so. It's a good little building rapport moment. You can find me on my first name, last name, which is, I think, displayed on the screen here, Joanna Dahlside. You also can type in Money Before Men and see my advocacy work for women there, and hashtags. You'll find my videos too.
All right. Money Before Men. Interesting. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joanna. I definitely appreciate you being on tonight's pod. Pass it to Ashley. Final thoughts and how can they find you, Ashley?
First of all, thank you for inviting me on here. I was super nervous too, which is crazy because I go live every day, and I want to say, yes, some of the comments were crazy, but the things that I get on TikTok are far worse. So I actually appreciate this. But thank you for having me because I got a lot of different perspectives too. And, being recently single, I needed some of this, especially from the men's perspective, because I just needed it. But you guys That's actually am I pointing the wrong way? That's my TikTok name. So you can follow me on there. If you send me some weird shit, it's going to go with the rest of the weird shit that never gets answered. So, but thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Appreciate you guys. Ashley and fellas, final thoughts, man. You guys did appreciate you guys always jumping on. Conrad, final thoughts. You were cooking tonight, Conrad. You were cooking. How can they find you?
Y'all can hit me up. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Threads. It's at @DaRealReal_SCE. That's at DAREALREEL_SCE. Matter of fact, I'd love for all of y'all to pull up on Friday because we're going live with Sexual Discipline Part 2. So if you're available Friday night, 10:30 Eastern time. I think, Will, that's 7 p.m. your time.
Yes, sir.
So y'all will see the messages in the other chat. So don't worry about that. But yeah, y'all, that's how y'all can find me. Don't send me no messages because I will give them to my wife, and whatever she says to you is completely legal. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Conrad and Damien. Final thoughts. As always a pleasure to have you on, Damien. All the knowledge you have. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. I always appreciate being invited to your show. I mean, this was a phenomenal group of women. I'm like, and I don't just say that. This was a really phenomenal group of women that you had on
Salute
there.
to you, ladies.
Very insightful, interactive. I got to give it to you ladies. And Conrad was just cooking. Conrad was on fire. He was in fuego all night, and I got to give it to this cat. He was really on point. If you want to follow me, IG is probably the best way. It's Can I Get Some Podcast, spelled exactly like that. Can I Get Some Podcast? I'm probably going to follow all of you anyway. I do have a TikTok. I do nothing on TikTok but watch maybe two people and then jump off of it. But I do a show every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be inviting some of y'all to jump on that. Mine is dating, pop culture, and politics. If you're down or what have you. Conrad's been on it, Will's been on it. We same kind of vibe there as well. But that's Tuesdays at 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. But yeah, that's how to get a hold of me if you're interested.
All right. Thank you so much, Damien. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, ladies. I just want to say one last thing. This is some chest hair shit real quick. I just want to say this one more time. Man, this is for the fellas that are trying to talk to the girls on the live chat. Guys, grow some chest hair and come and click on that link and come talk to this woman face to face and be a fucking man.
Facts.
Chest hair shit.
That's some chest hair
shit. Real chest hair shit.
Man, stop talking stop talking to the live chat behind the screen. If you're really intentional as a man, you have confidence in yourself, grow some fucking chest hair and some balls. And come on here and click on that link and come talk to these women face to face.
It's really not hard. We let you hijack that whole. We give you about maybe 35 seconds to start and land your plane.
Yeah,
it's not hard.
I gotta keep it.
Like I said, I equate it to the people that's yelling at LeBron in their living room on TV. I'm like, he can't hear you, and you ain't in the game. So either get in the game.
Get in the game. I see a lot of guys talk about Joanna, Sequoia, Ashley. Get in the fucking game and come talk to these girls virtually. Turn on that damn camera.
Chest hair shit.
That's some chest. We talk about leadership. We talk about masculine men. Talk about all that stuff. Yeah, that's what men do.
Yeah.
All right? So I just want to say that I appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for everybody in the live chat. I appreciate you guys. As always, please support them. And as always, please smash the like, subscribe button real quick to support me. But we do this every single Wednesday. Get notification. We do go live next week. New panel and new topic. Everyone have a great night. Ladies, gents, thank you so much for your time.
Peace out.
You guys have a great night.
Salute.
Peace.
Peace.